Another man done gone. Another man done gone from the county from another.
It's Jax. What up, Dallas? Let's go.
Martin Luther had a dream, but Freddy Krueger had a Ruger. Ex-Malcolm out the picture, so now we back to the future. Now we back to these losers embracing death like they used to. Poking out they chest, but listen, son, now you leaking that future. So who's the shooter? Is it your man? Or was it a fan? Or was it a stand? Pop would beg to differ. In hindsight, I bet you he said he was not a nigga. Plus Biggie Smalls was just minding his business, yo. Smoking an Optimo. Somebody got to drop the homie Biggie has got to go. And they couldn't stop it, no, I wish that they could. Yeah, the world needs change, but man, I wish that we would. So why the long frown? A man harmed from a 4 pound. His blood ripples on the floor from the wall sound. His mama sitting at the wake, hoping the Lord's found. Another dead, another gone now. Damn.
Another man done gone. Another man done gone from the county from another man done gone.
George Eliot said that it's best to be what you wanna be. Fucking do what you wanna do, so I do what I wanna do. Bet you did it to floss. Bitch, I did what I wanted. Bet you did it and lost. Bitch, I did it and won it. Shit, I'm never coming back. Listen, I just wanna rap. Gee, I told y'all all of that. On about a dozen tracks. I don't give a fuck. I just wanna rap. Spitting fire on this track like a fucking Thundercat. Plus this mic is bleeding roho. This shit is a no-no. Rolling in that low-low. Plus I'm from that Baltimore. Need a fofo. Smoking on my logo. Ready for the woe and we so-so. Silly with the flow. Somebody got a robo. Heard the lanes and I swear they so-so. Too much love for the fame just to go broke. You said think I had the rap game in the chokehold. Never think I got the whole world on the rope. Gotta think of damn dog, you crazy. Is he the next Jay-Z? My crystal ball is hazy, but I don't know. Maybe.
Welcome back to the Insanity Check Podcast. It is your host, Chris, here. And joining me in studio, and we're going to see if this actually works out on video. I got my man, Justin from the Three Fifs Podcast. What's going on, man?
How's it going, man? What's up?
Oh, man, it feels like it's been a busy day, and it's just noon.
I know, right? Like, it's just noon. It's like, yeah, we got all this stuff to do. All this stuff's already been done. And tomorrow's Monday. No, you know what? That's what it is. Tomorrow's Monday.
Yeah, that's what it is. Tomorrow's Monday. And it's just, I told you about this, and you hit me up. Like, and I appreciate this. You text me, because I told everybody on, and I didn't mean for it to, like, blow up as a post and to be like, oh, man, life is just so hard and stuff like that. But I was like, yeah, woke up on Friday. I only had 3 hours to do it for work. And I was like, I don't feel like going into work. Because it's gonna take me a 2-hour round trip, an hour to get to work and an hour to get back. I'm going to stay home and watch the Defenders, and I'll do some work throughout the day on my laptop that I can do from home and do that. I'm like, mental health day. I'm not going to go in. And everybody was like, yo, man, you all right? But sometimes you got to do that. And I'm like, it wasn't even to that point yet.
Right.
But it says, sometimes you just wake up and you're like, I don't feel like going in.
Yeah, it's like, you know what? I ain't got it today, Chief.
Yeah. And I think that's part of the problem with, like, working in America is you can't really do that. You can't just wake up and be like, what am I really feeling today?
So, you should be able to, though, right? Like, we have all this technology. We have all these abilities to, like, work from home, telecommute. You should be able to just wake up today and be like, I ain't coming in today. Like, there is so little need for, like, physical office spaces now. Like, beyond just, okay, interact with your teammates, I guess. But, nah, like, a majority of what we do, I can do from my home.
Right. I don't need to be here. I don't need, you don't need to see me today. You don't need to do this. And honestly, even then, like, and this is the weirdest thing, all right? Because obviously when we talk today, we're going to obviously get into all the bullshit that went down with white nationalism,
right.
Charlottesville. Because I would have liked for last week to be the last time we talked about that, but amazingly, it got worse. So that's the thing. It's like it got worse.
It started. It's like, okay, cool. A Nazi rally. How could it possibly get where? Oh no, this was only the beginning. Right. Okay, cool. This is just how it starts.
It's amazing that we're at the point now where you think the bottom is Nazis, but actually it isn't anymore. It's like, oh, we can go lower. Oh, okay, great. Okay, we're gonna do that. But like, so it's just. For all the talk that people are doing about this, real Americans need to get back to work, and we're not doing it, and lost productivity, blah, 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 blah. The higher up you get, and for most jobs, I would even say this, not even the higher up you get. For most jobs, the idea of a 40-hour work week is bullshit. If you have an office job, you're not working 40 hours in a week.
Nah.
You might physically be there for 40 hours in a week. But are you actually working for 40 hours? And I realized that, like, I started a new job, right? And so I feel, when you start a new job, you always kind of feel that I got to feel feeling out process. I don't want to be on Google. I don't want to be on social media too much. I don't want to be in my G. I started realizing that other people weren't doing work. Like, they do office pranks.
Yeah.
They walk around a lot, and they're always visiting each other, but they're not really talking about anything. Like, one time, the guy who, he's not really my, that's the other thing. There's no structure as far as who's my real boss is. Dude who came in, who gave me the runaround when I first showed up, come in my office, I'm thinking he's going to talk to me about, work. And I'm like, oh, man, I had to close all my social media account. I'm ready to talk about work. No, he's talking to me about Camaro. He bought a new Camaro. So for like 30 minutes, we're talking about Camaro with him, and then my office mate. He gets up to walk out, and then he goes, oh. And he realized he came into the office really to talk to my office mate about something that he needed for her. Right. It was like a 2-second conversation, but we had spent 30 minutes talking about fucking cars.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
You're not working 40 hours, so why do I need to be there for 40 hours?
I think a lot of older, I don't even want to say old, I just think a lot of management gets uncomfortable. They're like, well, if I can't look at them, how do I know that they're working? I'm like, well, if they're working or not, if they're turning in their deliverables.
Well,
like, it's really that simple. They're either going to give you the deliverable or they're not.
Because even when you see me, I might not be working.
Right.
It's like the thing, too. It's like, most people are not working. Even when you see them, they're not working. Like, I walk by and everybody else is on the same thing. They're on CNN. They're on, Facebook. They're on, like, everybody else is doing nothing.
The last time I was in the office, they spent about an hour trying to organize a fantasy football league. Just all the time, just like, normally I'd be cool with this, but like we actually have some huge shit coming down. Okay, cool, whatever. This is what we're doing. All right, whatever.
I just, whatever, man. I can't. So we're doing now? Okay, we're doing. So, excuse me. But anyway, yeah, so Friday I was just like, I'm not coming in. Like, and here's the thing. I had worked 36 hours already. By the time Friday came, I'd already been in the office for 36 hours. So I was just like, man, fuck it. I'll either make it up next week or I'll work from home. I'll figure something out. But I don't feel like physically getting up, and it's just too much work. It's more effort for me to get up, go to work, and I'm not going to do that. So I stayed home, and I laid on the couch, and I watched Defenders. I finished Defenders.
That sounds like a better use of your time.
It did. It was great. And look, I know you started watching it. You haven't finished it yet. I enjoyed it. You know what? Even Iron Fist, Finn Jones, it feels like they actually they trained him how to fight a little bit.
Well, so I just got to the dinner. Mm-hmm. So there's one fight that happens. For anyone that hasn't seen it, I'm going to try to talk around it. But it's clear the difference between Scott Buck and the Defenders. It is apparent. It's also apparent that Finn Jones actually had time to train.
And I think, again, push the whitewashing side stuff aside, because that's always going to be an issue. They're never going to be able to live it out. I think they do a good job of addressing his. There's a couple times in this that Luke Cage basically calls him a privileged white boy. So but it's still not enough to address the fact that you should have just gone with an Asian American.
Right.
You could have still gone with privilege.
Because even the conversation that's being shared around that Luke and Danny have, that conversation can still be had if Danny isn't white. You could also add an extra layer to it if he is a rich Asian American, because he can say, hey, I may have this privilege, but I'm still not, I may have wealth privilege, but I'm still
right. I mean, there's ways to do it. So getting all that aside, just looking at him, he's a better character this time, and you can tell that one of my biggest problems was it's clear that they rushed it, and they didn't give him time to train. He looked I'll even say physically, he looks more filled out. Is it me, or does he physically look better?
He does look better. Yeah. I don't know if it's the haircut or he's actually filled out a little bit more.
No, I think he's filled out a little bit. And when you saw him in Iron Fist, I was like,
he wasn't this cut.
You were like, well, when you do martial arts, you're not really supposed to be swole. I'm like, yeah, but you should still be cut.
But as an actor, you should still if your scenes call for the open shirts and shirtless and fighting scenes, it may not be true to life, but you got a job.
Charlie Cox is playing a blind guy. He's cut.
Yes.
Come on. And he's still the better fighter.
Nah, I mean, there's no debating that.
Right. Daredevil's still the better fighter in this. Yeah, it's just it. You can just he had more time to get into the role where it feels like they rushed it through. They were like, just get the Band-Aid off, just rip it off the first one. Let's just get it out of the way and do it. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of feel like the same thing they're doing with Inhumans because Scott Buck.
It's the same guy. So I am excited because it's the Inhumans. I'm worried because it's Scott Buck.
Oh man!
And like watching the Defenders, it's clear he was the problem for Iron Fist.
It was Scott Buck. Clearly Scott Buck was the problem. And I'm seeing that now, and it's driving me fucking crazy. I'm like, wait, so you guys got the same guy from Iron Fist to do Inhumans? Oh, you don't give a fuck about Inhumans then, do you? Because this is not going to go well. So apparently I'm seeing that maybe IMAX might have, it was supposed to be in theaters for 2 weeks. It might be 1 week now. So I'm not.
All signs point to caution.
In other news, hey, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. comes back in July. So there's that. So.
July?
Well, they said it's going to come back sooner. There's going to be no break. So So they said as soon as
right after Inhumans
they said
finishes.
right after Inhumans finishes, they'll get right into it. So I'm assuming they'll still have the holiday break. I think Inhumans is only 8 episodes, 10 episodes.
Yeah.
So we might come back sooner than that. If we're fairly honest. I mean, Inhumans starts in September, so shit. Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. might come back November, December. So they're shooting it now. I'm excited and they said there's going to be no break.
Yeah.
So that's the show I'm waiting on. I'm waiting on Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Good luck, Inhumans. I'm hoping for you.
Again, I'm rooting for it because I think an Inhuman show could be really, 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 really dope. The cast they've put together looks real. Like on paper, like okay, this is a good cast. That wig for Medusa, like not the CGI. I'm come around on Medusa's CGI.
Right, the CGI got better, but it's like, why did you guys put out anything other than that?
Exactly. That's where I am because like seeing the wig in action in CGI, I'm like, okay, this is fine. The standard wig you guys had for her and the first trailer you guys showed, I could tell you guys weren't finished. Yeah. Like you're not Black Panther. You can't get away with putting out an unfinished trailer.
No, you don't give a shit. Like it's clearly you don't give a shit. Like, come on. So anyway. So I did that on. So if you guys are, hopefully the video will be up on this one on YouTube. You'll see it. We're running 2 cameras here. I got some of the studio together. It's still kind of a mess in here. Like you're not seeing the stuff on the floor. Like just can see the stuff on the floor. It's like, oh, there's all this shit on the floor around here. But the walls are getting around to having posters up.
No,
and having the pictures up.
So right now I'm looking at the Ray Shrimp Captain America.
Yes.
The Deadpool. God, what was that first Wale album? Attention Deficit.
Yeah. I can't remember what it was.
The good one. No, Wale has like that one good album.
Good one.
And then the Black Panther variant.
Yeah. And then behind you got the Ava, and I got the
Crew.
Yeah, I got the Crew. I got the issue 2 of Invincible Iron Man with Riri. So I'm trying to get the stuff up around here and get stuff in the studio together. So when we do videos, you can see the stuff on the wall. Because I gotta. Other thing is, it's not even. I'll be honest. It's not even about getting the stuff for video. I have nowhere else to put this shit. So I need to shelves. I'm like, I'm getting too much shit. Like we got a ton of Brandon and I still got to divvy them out. We got a ton of these Funko Pops that they gave us, like the like Looney Tunes ones. So we got a ton of them. We had to buy a new suitcase so that we could carry all of them back home with us. Cause we got them. Because they gave each of us our own bag, and so we got them. We're like excited. And we're like, oh shit, we're in California though. How do we live in Maryland though? How do we get this shit back?
And you're not paying for shipping,
right? No. So we just bought a new container.
Right.
So that worked out. So. But what's up with you, man? Again, Three Fifs Podcast. You got lots of going on.
Yeah, man.
What do you got doing over there, man? 'Cause I know you guys are always doing something.
We're wrapping up our Game of Thrones recaps. I shouldn't say wrapping up. We're like halfway through with those. The main show is taking a break. We're taking a forced hiatus because we realized like we're almost at 100 episodes and we've taken 2 breaks. Oh, yeah. So we're taking a 2-week break, then we're going to come back. The site's already relaunched now. We're just cleaning up the formatting, and then we're going to get back out to pushing new shows. There's actually 2 new shows we have coming out, hopefully in the November-December timeframe that I'm like really excited about. So that's kind of like the new thing we're working on. Where people are coming to us and say, hey, we've got an idea for a show. We're like, okay, cool. We will give you the hosting and technical assistance, but the shows themselves, you know, you guys have free reign. So, and that's exciting to me, right? Like I do love podcasting. I do love creating the content, but like I'm finding more and more that I really love more giving other people a chance to like get their voices out.
Oh yeah,
and like tell their stories.
Look, as somebody who's doing the same thing here at the MTR Network, I can say it's both that it's great to give other people a voice and let them do their own thing. And it's always funny. Like I said, we just wrapped up podcast week with D-Palm, and you were on one of the episodes. You know, we wrapped up podcast week with a unanimous decision. And I remember when I talked about this last week when Deepak came to me about the idea. It was like, so let me know, what do you think about me doing a podcast every day of the week for a call podcast week? And he actually did like a legit pitch. And I'm just like, all right, I mean, dude, it's your show. If you want to do a show every day, that's on you.
More content for me.
Right. That means, so you're saying I don't have to put out anything that week because you're going to have it all covered? Oh, nigga, you good. You good.
Yeah.
Go ahead and do whatever you want to do. You know, it's like, when Cokie and P-Funk came to me with Molecules and Shit, which, by the way, I have two old episodes of Molecules and Shit are going to go on the main feed at some point. We got those. They gave it 3. Like, this is how good they are. They do their episodes in bulk. So it'll go like a month. I don't hear anything from them. Then I get an email from P-Funk. He's like, oh, here are 3 episodes that we recorded. I'm like, oh, well, okay, I will get these out. You know, so I just put out one this week. There's 2 more to put out, 2 new ones. There's 2 old ones that they remastered so we can put them on the main feed so people who have never heard them talk, you're not premium members, you can go and hear them. Because, again, Molecules and Shit is a really great show. But when they first came to me, like he had like this legit like PDF? It was a Word document pitch. Hey, listen, this is what we're thinking about doing. This is what we want to do. And I'm like, okay, I mean, you guys want to talk about science shit. We don't talk about science shit everywhere else. So, all right. They did their first episode as they recorded a test episode. Episode 1 wasn't supposed to be a real episode. Right. They sent me, they were like, we're going to do, I assumed they were going to do a short test, mic test. Like testing to see if the quality was good enough to make sure that, you know, because Cokie and they're not in the same area, so they're doing it over Skype. I thought that's what it was. What I got from them was an hour and 20 minutes. So I was like, do you guys still want to release this as number 1? Because you did a lot of work here.
Man, this is basically a pilot. Like, I could release this as the pilot.
Right. I could just release this episode 1. That's fine. I can do that. So, I think it's episodes 6 and 9 are going to be out, released to everybody else. So, stay tuned for that. They'll be coming. D-Palm and I recorded our Hawkman character corner.
How did that go?
Hilarious. It is hilarious because Hawkman, I'm not going to say he's a terrible character. He's been he has the most complicated history of all characters.
Mishandled is the
mishandled. That's the best way to put it. It is. So we had fun doing it, right? But and here's the thing: I'm reading Scott Snyder's doing Metal. That's the new thing he's doing. It's I don't know. It's not. I think it's just called Metal. I can't remember what it's
like. DC Metal.
It might be DC or Dark Knight Metal or something like that. It is actually kind of a Hawkman story. And I can't lie, after we did the episode, the Hawkman Character Corner, I went back and I read, there's 2 prequels to it. There's, I think it's called The Forge and The Casting. And then I went and read Metal issue number 1. Not going to be lying, I'm actually kind of excited. But then again, you kind of had me at Scott Snyder.
I'm about to say, it's Scott Snyder.
And it ties into everything he kind of did with, he's kind of bringing the Hawkman stuff, but it ties into everything he did with those 52 issues of Batman 2. Right. So it's Scott Snyder. It's
like, so I saw the new event. It's like, okay, DC Metal. I'm like, okay, sounds like an interesting concept. Scott Snyder. So how much do you want for this?
Oh yeah, I'm already subscribed on Comixology. So it's gonna, I'm getting that. So it's
yeah. Like happening. And then they got Tom King writing Mr. Miracle now. Like I don't give a shit about Mr. Miracle. They put Tom King on it, and I was like, well.
I gotta kind of.
Well. And then I read that first issue, I was like, oh shit, this is going to be good. Right. This is going to be
like,
so good.
You put these characters, you put these guys on these books, I gotta read them, right? It's just. Right. Come on. So.
I'm glad that that's where we are with comics now. Like, we have so many different writers, so many diverse writers that, you just put their name on. Like, you have Coates, I have a feeling Roxanne Gay will be coming back to Marvel.
Oh, hell yeah. I think they already kind of said, they're like, we'll find her something else to write, and we're getting her, because, again, hey, look, you can go out there and buy that book still.
Yes.
Get the volume for World of Wakanda.
Get the trade.
That'll help. You want her to be back to writing in Marvel, get the trade. Or writing for anyone.
Right.
Get the trade. That'll help. So.
And then I'm enjoying way more than I have any right to be. The new Invincible Iron Man, I'm enjoying that way more.
Oh, I'm subscribed to it. I haven't caught up on it, but I'm just seeing it, and I'm like, every time I see like panels from it, I'm like, I need to catch up on this because it looks.
No, it's so good.
Yeah,
it's so good.
Yeah. I'm all down for that. So, So anything else you got going on, man?
I mean, just trying to keep myself together because I think we may have touched on this last time I was on the show. Just like running these networks, doing all these podcasts, and doing all this stuff, and then maintaining a life outside of that can be a little exhausting.
Life outside of podcast. What do you mean, sir? Can you kind of describe that for me? I don't know what these words mean. Life outside of podcasting.
Yeah, like the civilian life, as it were. No, just like finding a balance for everything, making sure to like take time for ourselves, and no one wants to like do a show where you're burned out. So it's just like finding the balance to avoid burnout. But we're getting there, man.
That's good, man. That's good to hear, man. Because like I said, I mean, and that's what I love about all of us as black podcasters. We're all out here doing our own thing, but like we're putting work in. Like,
oh no, this is
all
the
of
job.
us are doing this stuff. Like, I was reminded. So we've been kind of lacking on some of the premium content this month. Don't worry, we've actually kind of recorded too. Like, I have a nostalgia review for Alien vs. Predator. Yesterday, I recorded a nostalgia review for Spider-Man 2. Both of those are coming out. And then next week we have what is it? Saga. Our Saga revisit from volume 4 to 6. I just haven't edited the episodes, so once I edit them, those will be out. I believe the ladies have recorded something for Docu Drunks that'll be coming out. I think there's also maybe a Girls Trip spoiler review or discussion coming out. I think. So there's definitely stuff being recorded. We just need to get it out there, and the Patreon is coming soon. I'm trying to get stuff together for streaming, and I think I might need to get another PC because kind of taxing stuff right now.
Yeah. So. Also, I'm so glad that Girls Trip did infinitely better than Rough Night.
Over $100 million.
Yeah.
Domestically. So
like that's really good. And I remember when Rough Night first came out, there were a bunch of articles from like the Hollywood Reporter saying, "Oh, and then there's Girls Trip 2. Maybe that won't do as well since Rough Night didn't do as well." And we're just like, no, this is actually a good movie.
Well, even then, it's like, I think it's a novel idea, but you market to black people, we actually show up.
You mean black people buy things?
Ooh. I know, it's a tough concept.
You know how much money Black Panther is going to make? Like, no, I think that is Disney's reaction. Like, they're laughing at how much money they're going to make off of Black Panther.
Like, and they know it because, like, everything that... Because I saw the trailer. The next trailer comes out is going to have even more action from, like, the ladies.
Yeah.
Even more. And it's going to have people going, yeah, it's going to make so much fucking money. It's going to make so much money.
Because they're also not shying away from the fact that, yes, we have women in this movie. We have women from all spectrums. We have badass women. We have... mentor women. We have, like, it's just everyone across the spectrum. It's not just like one archetype of woman. Like, we're all badass Amazon women. Like, no, we're all across the spectrum because women are human beings, and we're showing black women being human beings.
Yeah, it's gonna make so much fucking money. It's gonna be ridiculous. But it's like the thing. It's like, hey, market to other people outside of white people, and you might be able to, I don't know, make a lot of fucking money.
Yeah, man.
It's kind of great. It's funny you mentioned that. I thought I saved it, and I don't see it in my saved notes here. But there was an interview, a really bad interview, with the new 75-year-old white guy who's the head of the academy now.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah, did not go as well. Because he was asked, he was like, hey, there's all this talk about diversity and stuff like that. So what do you think it's like to have, like, you guys kind of followed up your for having their first African American woman as a president to having a 75-year-old white guy. Want to comment on that? And he got all upset. So what does it mean having to be 75 white guy to do with anything? And I'm like,
this actually right here, this what you're doing right now, it's actually peak.
Your reaction is exactly why. The reaction of, oh well, no, we're all one people, and it doesn't matter. That is why it matters, because you clearly don't see the fucking problem. All you had to do was say, I can see why the optics of that would look bad, but I'm here to assure everybody we're going to carry that on and carry on the work we've been doing to change the dynamic of the academy and be more diverse. We're going to carry that forward. That's how you answer that question.
It's so easy.
It's so easy. Let me see if I can find. I want to get his exact words. It is yeah.
Like really, I feel like all these white people in these positions just need like the real nigga PR firm, right? The real nigga PR firm will help you when these situations arise. How do you feel about you as a 75-year-old white man being the head of the academy after we just had our first black woman? How do you feel like that will affect your steps towards diversity? Instead of recentering yourself, it's like, oh, what does it have to do with me? Why does we have to be a white guy have to do with anything? We're all just one people anyway. It's all about the art. You could have said, we'll be carrying on the fine tradition of our former president. She left a great blueprint for us to follow. We will ensure that we don't take any steps backwards, and we will ensure that we have a vast spectrum of nominees, candidates, and voting members on the board. We want to continue the legacy. Like, it's that simple. Like, it's really that simple.
All right, so here's the interview. It's in Variety. Turn to the issue of diversity. Obviously, this has been a major push in the last couple of years, and there might be a perception of the academy electing a 75-year-old white man as president flies in the face of that. Again, that is a valid fucking question.
Yes, it is.
After every, you guys, shout out to April Rain, but you guys have made Oscar So White. The reaction to Oscar So White is why Oscar So White blew up.
Exactly.
That's just the fact. It would have died off if the academy hadn't reacted. And the academy members hadn't shown themselves to be racist dicks, right? So that is a valid question from any publication worth their salt would ask the question when you follow up with a younger black woman with a old white man. Didn't even go with a white woman, you went with a white man.
They went with the standard, right? They went with the default.
Here's his response. What you just said is bullshit. What does my being 75 years old and a white man, I was born a white man, I can't help that I'm 75, and I can't help that I'm 75 years old. If that's some sort of limiting factor, that's a stupid question. I'm sorry. Does the fact that I'm a white male, 75-year-old mean I have set positions against diversity? Kinda. So we had an African-American president for 4 years. The next president happens to be a white man. Does that mean we're backpedaling? Yes.
Yes.
Of course not. And I kind of resent that you would suggest that. So let's talk about diversity, not the fact that I'm a 75-year-old white guy.
So, okay. This is what white people love to do, right? When we sort of try to talk to them about white privilege, diversity. Well, I shouldn't say just white people. Anytime someone with privilege, you try to call them out on it and try to explain and educate them, they try to say, oh, you want me to apologize for who I am? Nah, we just want you to acknowledge that because, certain things broke this way in life. You are a man, you are white. You've never had to deal with certain things. You're 75 years old. He lived through segregation and integration. Let's frame that for what it is. He was a child of segregation, probably a teenager during integration, right? So he saw that. Yes, that's going to color your views on how you view black people because you had to be forced to integrate with black people, right? That matters. You may not think it matters, but it kind of does, and it does. Your experiences color how you view these things. The fact that you reacted that way lets me know that you really don't care about diversity. You just care about people not getting on you about diversity.
Dude.
Yeah.
That's, and again, he goes on later on, and the next question is let's do it. Let's talk about the diversity. He goes in and talks about all these other things. But I'm looking through some of the stuff he has answered. I'm like, some of these things are, you're the new president. The things he talks about are things that have already been existing that I'm assuming the last president fucking did. So you can't sit there and talk about the things that are in place now or are happening now because the previous person did that. What are you going to do? How are you going to make people... Again, the question was basically like, how do you make people feel better that this is not going back? That this is not pulling a Donald Trump.
Which, again, funny he used that example. Like, doesn't mean we're going backwards. Just had a Nazi rally, guy. I think that's kind of going backwards.
Like, the interview was posted on the 15th, so let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Let's say maybe it was it was done before Charlottesville.
Right.
But still, it was probably done well after, Trump's been elected, and you've seen what's going on here. How are you... This doesn't make me feel better, because even if you're... And this is going to be the thing of the day for the rest of the stuff we talk about the day, is while you might not be the worst example I have in my mind of what it could possibly be, I'm not confident that you're going to carry on the torch and go forward with it. I feel like at best you might take a baby step, or you might take a few steps backwards, but you're not going to be the huge step backwards, but you're not going to push for it like it is. Your answer here did not make me feel any better. It did not make me feel like you're going to push for diversity. You're going to go for it no matter what. It doesn't feel like you're going to do that to me, because you got so defensive, made it about you.
Exactly.
What does you being a white 75-year-old man means? Like Justin just said here, you're a child of segregation. It means you might fall back to your default. You might fall back to your factory fucking settings, dude.
Like, you grew up in a time where black people could not drink the same water you did. Like, that happened in your lifetime, in your formative years. Black people could not drink from the same water fountain as you.
Could be that you kind of go back to that. I don't know. That's why we're asking you to make us feel better about that, and you didn't do that.
Right. The other thing is, the assumption is, and that's also going to be a theme for the day, the assumption is, if I am not a card-carrying racist, if I'm not a card-carrying white supremacist, I am good. Right? No. Apathy is still violence. Right? Like, apathy towards the suffering of marginalized people is still violence because you're not doing anything about it. And
just so everybody knows, the new president is John Bailey. And he's been an Academy member since 81. And again, like, all right, like let me look at his IMDb. Let's see what he has. I mean, he looks like the typical, I'm not racist, but you are racist white guy.
Oh yeah.
Looking through some of the cinematography stuff he has here. Don't see a lot of diversity here. At least nothing that's standing out to me.
Right.
Maybe there are some stuff, but I don't see. Let's see what he directed.
Dog, he looks like the villain in like every 1990s movie about kids in the inner city having to deal with a racist principal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm just saying, dude, like, make people feel better about that. And you going, it's, getting upset about a valid question, which it was a valid fucking question. Doesn't help at all, man.
Yeah, so to like drive the point home, he was born in 1942, which means Brown versus Board of Education was 58, so he was a teenager. Civil Rights Act was 60s, so he went the first 20 plus years of his life without having to interact with black people.
And as a white person, you can actually go a lot of your career in life without actually having to interact with black people on a significant level.
Right.
Not saying you don't have black friends, not saying you don't see black people. I'm just saying significant level. And that does not mean that I think John Bailey is a racist. It could be opposite. It could be just the opposite. But, and this is going to be key, because I'm glad we end up stumbling into this being the first topic to kind of ease in there. If you are a white person listening to the show today, let me tell you something right now. It's not that I hate white people. But we're gonna say some hard truths today. Might make you feel uncomfortable. If you feel uncomfortable, good. That is what you need to feel when we're talking about marginalized people, and you're talking about privilege. That's what happens. When women talk about male privilege and what happens in feminism and things like that. Sometimes, even when I understand it, sometimes I feel uncomfortable. But you know what? I fucking deal with it.
Yeah, it's a necessary conversation.
It's a necessary conversation. That's what it is here. It's not that I think John Bailey is a racist. No, he could usher in a great, so he could carry on what the last president did and usher in more diversity. That's great. But the fact that he got upset about being asked about that doesn't give me a lot of confidence, because that's a valid question. You should be able to answer that question. It's like, hey, yeah, it does look bad.
Right.
You know?
And again, that is not blaming you for being, you can't help when you were born. You cannot help that you're a child of segregation, right? What it is saying is it's acknowledging that these experiences happened in your life and in one way, shape, or form have affected your worldview, right? They've affected your experiences. They've affected your mobility. You have had privileges and experiences based on your gender, race, that other people may not have had. So it's just like acknowledging that and saying, yo, given all of these things, what are you going to do going forward with diversity?
I'm a man. I can say this, went a majority of my life with some really sexist views being hammered into my head. That's just what it is. Thankfully now I was more open and understanding of these things. I'm still trying to work past that. But it's the truth. Like, we all grew up, we learn things. Like I think too many times we have people, and this is where the balance comes in at, where some people feel the call out culture is wrong.
Right.
I feel like call out culture is necessary, but at the same time, when a person is legit making strides to try to better themselves, we should be more understanding about that. But that comes with having to do actual work, not going on Twitter and asking, how can I help you black people, as Lady Gaga did.
Oh my God.
Which was the dumbest shit in the world, which we'll get into later. But oh my fucking, don't do that shit. Don't do that shit. But I feel like, yeah, you need to be open to change, but it's a two-way street here. If you show yourself to be truly open to change and understanding and learning, I found that more people are understanding of that and, and willing to. Sure, I know that because, shit, if it wasn't for that case, we wouldn't have a fucking show right now. More people would have dumped me a long time ago if we still held the ideals we did when we started the show back in 2008. So it's just what it is, But you got to be open to that shit. You can't get upset when people bring it up.
Right, because like what you're doing is when you're getting up, when people bring up their real pain and real traumas, and you get upset at it, what you're saying is your feelings matter more than their trauma, right?
But I'm trying, guys.
Well, yeah, guess what? I'm not gonna let my feelings trump someone else's trauma, right? Like, because when people bring these things up, there's real pain and trauma and hurt associated with it. So maybe be a little more empathetic to what they're going through and not your hurt feelings.
Absolutely. So, all right, so let's get into this shit that's going on here. So I've been sitting on this name of this episode for the longest time, but I was sitting on the name back when Trump was doing the whole shit with North Korea, where he was, we're gonna fire and fury and we're gonna do all this shit, and I was just like, it was one of the things that people were like really freaking out. We were gonna have a nuclear war, and I was like, it's not gonna happen. It's not, just because hate to say it, but mutually assured destruction actually kind of works. That where they have one nuke, maybe we have a country full of them.
Yeah,
it's just at some point, no matter how crazy you are, you kind of go, I'm gonna back down. And I'm saying that as the rational person would have been North Korea.
Yeah.
not Donald Trump, but the rational people would have been North Korea on some. We might be able to get a lick off, but we're gonna take that ass whooping.
But so is this one punch worth the destruction of my entire country?
Right. And that's usually what mutually assured destruction. Mad. So I'm gonna name the episode the Mad Wannabe King in Trump, right? And I was like, oh, that's fucking great, right?
That's a good one.
So we're now past. I hate to say, we're not past the threat of nuclear war with North Korea, which
like think about it. Last week started with holy shit, we could actually get into a nuclear war with North Korea, and it ended with Nazis and Neo-Confederate shut up Joy Black Girl Nerds with a Neo-Confederate rally. Like what?
Like who thought that? People were like before then, like 2 weeks ago was we might be going to another Cuban Missile Crisis. And first of all, I was like, we're not, because remember the Cuban Missile Crisis was the Russians were going to park like a bunch of nukes.
Right.
In Cuba off our coast of Florida. That's different than they possibly could possibly have one nuke that could maybe possibly reach. That's a big difference from a Cuban Missile Crisis. But still, it's nukes, so when it's nukes, people lose their fucking minds. To now, it's like, oh, that's fucking old news. We're off of that now. And I'm like, How do we get off of nukes? How do we get off of nuclear war? Oh, Nazis. That'll do it.
That'll do it every time.
That'll do it. But I realized that, guess what? I can still use the name, the Mad Wannabe King, The motherfucker's still insane.
Yes.
He's still out of his goddamn mind. You know, like, it's like, let me tell you right now. Yes, Bannon is gone. Out Friday. Here's the thing I need everybody to realize about something. For a guy who in TV, you know, through TV and reality TV, and was known for this phrase of "you're fired." Donald Trump actually isn't firing anybody. If you notice, all of these people have resigned, and Donald Trump has said good things about every single one of them when they're gone. He's not firing anybody. And then when you look at people who are taking credit for him, these people leaving, they've either resigned on their own, or, which I think that might have been Spicer. I think Spicer might have been on some. I think Spicer was trying to get out.
Yeah.
I think Spicer was, he might be the only one. Everybody else, though, was on some, you know, I'm being forced to do this, so fuck it, I'll do it, but I still think this guy's a good guy. He went out, not only did he said the most best things about Steve Bannon when he left.
Yeah.
He thanked him for his service, and then when it was announced that Steve Bannon is going back to Breitbart, he's saying that's good. So I need people to understand that Trump is not going to be done. Like, he's not getting any better. Like, he believes Steve Bannon was a good choice. The rod is at the top.
So the thing with Bannon, everyone's like, yes, Bannon's gone. I'm like, all right. Even if you want to have the assumption that it's one person causing all of these views, Gorka's still there. Steve Miller's still there.
Still.
So maybe, just maybe, the problem isn't these white nationalists and white supremacists in the cabinet. It's the fact that Trump put them there in the first place.
No.
Right? And like, take it a step further. It's not the fact that Trump's putting them there. It's the fact that no one is checking him when he does. There is no resistance from the Senate. There is no resistance from the House. There's no resistance from Pence. There's no resistance from the GOP at large. He dogged out Reince Priebus. Like, he's supposed to be running the Republican Party. He dogged him out, embarrassed him on a national level, and there was no recompense for that. He didn't have to answer for that. So at some point you have to realize, no, the GOP actually wants this. This is what they've always wanted.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get into that because I have a list of things I want the media to start addressing, and as a media, I also say this us as regular people to start addressing as well. But yeah, let's not get too far from it. I mean, this is a man who went out. Well, I guess it was Monday's press conference and said, and nobody's been able to answer this. He was like, there were some good people on both sides. He's never been able to, and nobody's ever been able to answer because I would love. Joy Ann Reid is the only person that's ever been able to really. The only person I will allow to have Trump supporters on her show because she nails them down on certain things and won't let them get away with bullshit.
Right.
So she had a person on her show today was trying to say, she was like, so tell me, he was saying that there were good people on both sides. So who were the good people on the neo-Nazi side? And the other guy couldn't say it. And so eventually, when he finally was like, well, I don't think there were any good people on that side. Joy, thank you very much for the show. We got to move on. And she ended the segment right there. And so,
boss.
But that is how you have to deal with these people. You paint them into a corner where they have to say that what they've been saying is bullshit. Then you end it right there. You stop. You cut them off at the knees because you have to get them to a like. If you're gonna bring the only reason to bring on Trump supporters is to show that they're full of shit. And you have to cut them off at their knees and not let them continue on with their bullshit because they're going to just keep lying and lying and lying because they don't give a shit. They don't care about the truth.
So you can't bring them on to humanize them. You can't interview them to humanize them. You can't bring them on to make it to sort of present their side of the argument as worthy of debate. You have to bring them on to deconstruct the argument. You have to engage them and say, no, this is stupid. This is why this is stupid. Thank you for your time.
So you remember, one of the first articles we bring up here is just a reminder. We're going to be a lot of reminding here. This is from November 21st, after the election. Richard Spencer, right, neo-Nazi, white supremacist, whatever the fuck you want to call them. I'm starting to understand. Like, I kind of don't want to call them, even though they are neo-Nazis. I don't want to call them neo-Nazis because people hang on the Nazi part,
right,
and not the idea that they're all just white supremacists.
Right. So
They're all it is. That's what they are.
I'm a language nerd. I love brevity. Nazi is 4 letters, and it encompasses white supremacists, neo-Confederates, white nationalists. Like, violent white terrorism can be summed up so much nicer in the word Nazi.
And that's why I see it too. I'm like, so if we're gonna draw the line at Nazis, fine, but you guys need to expand what Nazi is. It's moved well beyond just having a love for Hitler and the swastika. Like, it's well beyond that.
Like,
it encompasses all these white nationalist terrorists.
Nazi has evolved in modern times beyond just anti-Semitism. It's anti-blackness. It's anti-immigrant based on where in Europe or America you are. It's basically anything that is not white. We want a white ethno-state. That is what Nazis want.
It's white nationalism.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's white nationalism, period. And I just think that Nazi, like you said, Nazi is just easier to say than white nationalist.
Right.
It just is. But I need white people to understand that when I say Nazi, I'm not just talking about the guy with the swastikas. I'm talking about your fucking uncle, your fucking dad, your mom, your friend that you listen to the racist jokes. They all consider, I'm considering all of them fucking Nazis.
Right, like that's why Joy was saying Neo-Confederates. I'm like, yes, that's Neo-Confederate is probably a more accurate description for America. It's a more accurate description because they are traitors that want to create a white ethno-state, similar to what the Confederacy wanted in the 1800s.
Right. So back in November 21st, there was a video of Richard Spencer and some other neo-Nazis, white nationalists, whatever. The alt-right, as you call them, were out here in D.C. and they were doing a Hail Trump thing. And they went back later on, and this is how they're such fucking cowards. Instead of just standing by with a fucking day, oh no, it's ironic. They now do the OK symbol thing. Yeah. And I think the Southern Poverty Law Center doesn't consider that a white national symbol. And I'm like, it is now. Because they all now...
Because they've co-opted it.
They co-opted it. It started off as a Reddit, like ironic, oh, we're going to do sarcasm thing, but it turned real.
Well, so the last show we did, which I'm finishing editing now, we actually talked about how all of these white guys get radicalized. Because we always talk about, oh, where was he radicalized? A lot of these white guys, that's
Reddit.
So that's one of the places. A lot of it starts off with these white guys that, for whatever reason, they're taught and it is branded on them that they're the heroes of their own stories. But that is not reflected in their real life. Especially when you're a teenager, you're not the hero of your high school.
Working on a piece of chain.
Like, so you go online, you find these spaces, and you find the only way to stand out is rape jokes, Anne Frank jokes, Hitler jokes, and eventually you find spaces where the jokes are echoed and they bounce back, and it's like, okay, cool. This is a place where I can, these people appreciate me, they acknowledge me, they get my humor. Anyone that's criticizing my rape jokes, oh, you're just a social justice warrior. You're not a free thinker. See, we're the free thinkers over here. And then those people link up with men's rights activists, who link up with white nationalists, who, like, all of that shit is the same branch of the Nazi tree.
Well, it was Gamergate.
Yeah.
This is when we saw Gamergate. Everybody was like, and the Gamergate, well, we have black friends. There are some black people a part of Gamergate. I'm like, yeah, just like there are black people that are friends with neo-Nazis and black people that are friends with, or think they're friends with Trump and stuff like that. It's all there. It's all part of, like, all that shit was the same. There was an article that came out recently that was like, hey, look, there's all these people start off, they're kind of men's rights activists because the dude, that Cantwell dude, Christopher Cantwell, I think, who went from tough guy, neo-Nazi to crying on camera. We got that in a minute. But, like, men's rights activists.
Like, so they go to the men's rights activists. They start reverberating some of that same shit. From men's rights activists, it is a hop, skip, and a jump to white nationalism. Because it's like, all these feminazis are keeping you down. Now it's not just these feminazis, it's these black people and these Mexican people that are taking your jobs.
And the Jews.
And the Jews, the ones that control the world banks, all these black people making money, taking money from you, your welfare. Look, hop, skip, and a jump to white nationalism. And we got on that because I don't know if you're familiar with this YouTuber PewDiePie.
Oh, yeah, I saw him. Yeah.
Yeah, so he started off just like, he's just a dude that did Minecraft videos, and he became one of the biggest YouTube channels ever. And as he got more popular, he started getting more edgy, throwing a lot more, oh, these bitches over here. And then he started flirting with Nazi jokes. And then he went from beloved YouTube gamer to Nazi.
Yeah.
Like, it's like you can track the trend, you can track the progression. And it's like, what happens is the fans he would tell these jokes, and people would say, yo, that's not funny. His fans would say, no, it's funny, keep going. The echo chamber keeps going, and that's how these white guys radicalize themselves.
Well, he came out and did, after Charlottesville, he came and did another video talking about something. I didn't mean it like that now, guys.
But that's the gag. You never mean it like that until there's real consequences.
Oh, Did you see the video?
Yes.
Of the one white dude?
I know what you're talking about.
Oh,
yes.
So I'm gonna tell you if I can find it, put in the show notes. There's a video of this.
I have that video. I will send it to you.
There is a video of this white dude who was talking all this shit at the Charlottesville joint. I think a black dude was started coming at him. He takes his shirt off, puts his hands in the air, and goes, "No, man, it was just,
just jokes.
It was just jokes." And then they kept asking him, it was like, so, and then somebody with the camera kept following him, was like, "So you don't want to be a white nationalist no more?" It's like, "No, man, it was just, it's all jokes until it gets serious." But here's the thing. They mean that shit.
Yes, they always mean it.
And that's the problem. It's like, you cannot let them get away with it's just jokes, because they say that, and then if you keep following them, the jokes come back.
The jokes become hate.
It becomes hate.
And
it comes back.
What happens is we see these corners like Reddit, like 4chan, like YouTube, like Gamergate, whatever, and we isolate them. We say, okay, cool. That's not me, though, right? Like when Gamergate popped off, gamers writ large were like, but that's not us. And it's like, no, this toxicity is like inherent to your culture. Your culture is not the cause of it, but it is a vast part of it, and you need to address it. No, you othered it. You said, that's not us. That's not me. And look what happened. They do the same thing with, oh, they're just Reddit nerds on the internet. No one cares about them. And they're organizing Nazi rallies. Like, that's how this happens. It happens because people see these things happen, and when they have a chance to engage, and I'm not talking about black people specifically here, right? Like, I'm talking about when white people see their family members at Thanksgiving, and oh, I couldn't go to that Whole Foods. All the black people showed up there. I was afraid I was going to get my turkey stolen. Ha ha ha. No one's calling them out on that joke. They're laughing they're pulling a Charlemagne. They're laughing at it.
Yeah, no. Like, it's not funny. It's not ironic. It's not satire. I need people to start doing, like, you got to go back to what satire really is. That's not satire. They mean the shit. And if they didn't mean it, they wouldn't say it. You know? The minute, because here's the thing. You never see them coming out and defend it. Or condone it. Or not condone it. You never see them come out and be like, "Hey, listen, guys, we make a lot of jokes here and stuff like that, but what's going down here, that shit ain't right." They never address that stuff. You never see them. You'll never see PewDiePie take the cause of underrepresented minorities in gaming or anything like that. You'll never see that shit.
Nope.
So if you're not doing that, then your whole idea of it's ironic, I don't mean it, I'm not telling the truth. There's no truth in that at all. No. It's like when people get drunk and they try to say mean dumb shit, and they go, "Well, no, it was drunk." No. When you get drunk, sometimes your true feelings sometimes come out.
Right.
These are your true fucking feelings.
And that's all it is. Like, you keep trying to hide behind the, oh, it's just jokes, or, oh, it's just that other part of the internet. It's just that other part of culture. That not all men. Like, they turn it into this monstrous thing. But while it's monstrous, it's also very, very human. Mm-hmm. It is very relatable. The people at that rally are your neighbors, your coworkers, and your family members.
Yep.
Right? Take it a step further. The people defending the rally, saying they had a right to assemble, are your family, your coworkers, your neighbors. And their apathy is just as violent as the participation.
The ones going, well, there were violence on both sides.
Right.
So here's the thing. I got this thing. Because, again, my whole thing has been, like, black people, we've done enough. And I'm done.
We did our part.
We've done our part. Like, and there's been enough, because that's what made me so upset about Lady Gaga going, well, black people, tell me what we can do to help. And I don't want to be like,
sign up for safety pin box. That's what you can do. Well,
that's one. And great. Like, what Marissa and Leslie are doing, and I think I'm going to have Leslie on next week, I think, for the sanity check. I'm hoping so. And that's great. Like, I don't want to downplay. Like, when Leslie first came to me about safety pin box, I was like, "Oh, this is a great fucking idea. Like, we need this." But here's the thing: safety pin box shouldn't even have to fucking exist, right? Because the idea is, you should already fucking know. Like, we've
been telling you for decades.
Decades, hundreds of years. If you were a good, decent human fucking being, you wouldn't need to be told what to fucking do. Here's the thing. Put it this way. Look, I didn't need to get a safety pin box for feminism to understand. It's like, hey, you know what? Maybe women are talking about some truth about this rape culture thing. Maybe I should educate myself, figure it out, and try to be a better person. Maybe I should just start listening to what women are saying and go from there. Right? I didn't need to get a fucking box to do that. And I'm not saying that, hey, again, shout out to Safety Pin Box for doing this and helping white people do this because clearly white people need the hand holding. But can you see how frustrating that is?
Oh, yeah.
As a black people to go, you need to be treated like, we talk about how Trump is a 2-year-old. White people in general need to be treated like 2-year-olds to be shown how to fucking do this. And it's so annoying.
It goes counter to everything that we've been taught about how to confront racism and oppression, right? The narrative that gets pushed even as early as high school and middle school and elementary school is be peaceful, be nonviolent, be loving. When you actually study history, you realize, oh no, the only thing that has ever worked against oppression is violence, is action. And so when I say violence, I don't mean like violent insurrection. There's a thing they say in the intel community when you're doing interrogations. Violence perceived is violence achieved. If I perceive that there is violence coming, it has the exact same effect of violence. So take Boston, what happened in Boston. There was a Nazi rally in Boston. 20,000 other people from Boston showed up to counter-protest. The 100 protesters that showed up for the Nazi rally perceived violence and they ran away. They perceived a threat and they said, we can't do this. Violence perceived is violence achieved. You cannot just sit home and love it to death. You have to show it. No, there will be consequences for your actions.
When you're too racist for Boston,
and that's the thing.
Because here's the thing. Because I was seeing all this stuff about, and again, I'm gonna get into why I'm so angry sometimes about seeing some of these protests and these marching and things like that. Like 20,000 people came out in Boston and did all the marching. That's fucking great. It's fantastic. But I'm like, Boston's still racist as fuck. All right, Boston might be one of the most racist places north of the Mason-Dixon line. Like, that's a racist ass city.
Yes, right? It is.
That is like Boston is so racist. I won't go to Boston before I go to places like Georgia. Like, I will go anywhere down south before I will go to Boston. All right, just because that's how So when you're too racist for Boston, like, and that's why I go back to like Nazis being so low of a bar
because it's easy.
It's so fucking easy that even Boston can do it. Like,
it's so easy, Boston can do it.
It's so easy, Boston can do it. Like, oh my God. Like, I want to make the Mad Wanna Be King the name of the show, but God damn it.
So easy,
it's so easy, Boston can do it. Might be the name of the show now, because it's just like, it's so easy.
Let's frame it this way. Bill Russell, arguably one of the greatest basketball players of all time, had to have his jersey retired in a private ceremony because Boston would not allow it. Because Bill Russell himself said, Boston is the most racist place I've ever been.
So racist.
Right? And part of the reason that is Boston has never reconciled its own racist culture. They just say it's not, they say this is not us.
Well, it's not us. Like, which, and again, it's one thing I hate. It is you. It's so you that yes, it fucking is you. You gotta own it. Just own it. You know? Come on, man. Like, oh yeah. Woo, so good. So, all right. I'm trying to think if I want to go into this or do I want that rum? Because this is going to get kind of heavy. Well, fuck it. I'll survive what I got, and we'll go forward. So,
all right.
Let's do it. So I got some stuff here for steps I want media to do. And I'm saying media, but I also want everybody to start doing these things. And when I say everybody, I mean white people. And again, if you feel kind of some kind of way, me calling out white people, understand that you're the majority.
You don't want to do the...
Do which one?
The legislation?
Oh no, we're gonna get into that. That's part of the steps.
Gotcha.
And that's part of this. Oh, that's all in the steps. That's all.
Got you.
It's all in here. It's
My
all,
bad.
It's all.
I got hit the schedule, boss.
Oh yeah, it's all in here, yo. But yeah, it's like we're the minority of this. It's not gonna be us that at some point you got to get your racist families, friends, and the people you got to do that shit. It's like how if we want to change the culture when it comes to women's rights, that us men have to stand up and start doing things ourselves because we have all the power in that. We run the government as men. So
right.
We have to do something. So that's where this is coming from. It's not just coming from, oh, you hate white people. It's like if you guys really believe the shit you're saying now, that shit about, hey, we got to come together and we got to do this, we got to do. If you really fucking believe that shit, then this is where it comes from. So, all right, the first one I have in here is stop interviewing them. And by them, I mean white nationalists. That doesn't mean you can stop calling them out, but it means stop giving them profiles. And the reason for this is, like, I fully believe in talking about what they're saying, but do not bring them on and give them. Don't give them space. Like, that's what they want. Because most of these people, Richard Spencer doesn't have a job. This is his job.
Right. Like, this is what he does out of his office.
This is how he gets money. When you saw all the people that were getting ID'd as white nationalists at the Charlottesville protest, what were they? They were like working at a hot dog shop, or they were a pizza parlor. They don't have anything else but this. This is what they have. This is their job. So when you give them profiles like Richard Spencer, remember all the many profiles on Richard Spencer?
The dapper white nationalist.
The dapper Nazis. First of all, Nazis were all dressed nice. Like, there's one thing you'd always say about Nazis. They were always dressed nice. That didn't mean that they didn't murder 6 million Jews.
I still want to know, like, what editors said in on those discussions. You're like, yes, we want to have a profile on dapper white nationalism. Like, that's like, this was even before the alt-right. Like, the first article on Richard Spencer is called The Dapper White Nationalist. And I would say that there is a value in talking about these people and sort of highlighting their abhorrent views, as long as you frame them as abhorrent.
And that's what you have to do. You cannot give them, like, there was a new, was it Business Week or Business Magazine? Some business magazine did an article on the fired Google bro, where he tried to go, oh well, no, I'm not being. He basically compared working as Google as a white national right-wing Republican as working as being gay, which no.
What? I didn't realize making $200,000 at Google and having access to all these resources and connections was the same as being told that, you know, your sexuality is an abomination and that the government won't acknowledge it, and the government won't allow you to visit your partner when they're dying. The government won't allow you to get certain health benefits. Like, that's totally the same.
You were fired because you made a hostile environment for any women or minorities working with you. That is why you were fired.
But so the scary thing about that, Vice, by the way, Vice is just like, as an operation, they're journalistic machine, because they got access to oh God, what's it called? Is it Blind? It's where people post anonymously about certain jobs or certain work environments. They got access to like that message board, and they were getting testimonies from a lot of people that worked with this guy, and the minority was saying he should have been fired. You had a lot of people that were saying, while I don't agree with his views, I think it's wrong to fire him for them. If you really disagreed with it, why not debate him on it? Right? It was a lot of that. Mm-hmm. And the article is framed in such a way of saying, like, this is how this happens. Because when these behaviors come up, instead of treating them as abhorrent, you treat them as just something to be debated. My humanity is not something to be debated. Right? Like, his whole manifesto was based on women are inferior because of science. Women don't succeed in tech because of biology.
It was wrong.
Yes.
Scientifically and everything else, it was just fucking wrong.
It was inaccurate, it was sexist, it was misogynistic, and it is one step away from white nationalism.
Well, and that's why he got interviewed by a bunch of white nationalists. His first interviews were with white nationalists.
Yes.
So then when you then go in and you interview him on a reputable site, what you're saying is he has a valid point of view that should be debated, which is wrong. These people do not have valid points of views. None of the things they say are valid. None of the things they say are, if you bring them on, you need to do like Joy Ann Reid does, which is you need to embarrass them and get them to trick them into saying that they are wrong.
Right. There's an article in Business Insider that goes point by point through the Google Bro. I forget. It's like Eric something, but whatever. His name is Google Bro.
Google Bro.
And like point by point why it's wrong. All of his research comes from, no lie, Wikipedia, 4chan, closed Reddit threads.
Oh, no, really? Reddit?
And discredited medical journals. Like, there's not one valid source in his manifesto.
I'm gonna put it this way: if 'cause I'm always iffy about seeing anything that involves Reddit. If ISIS used Reddit the way white nationalists use Reddit,
so here's the thing: I have to be careful how I talk about this. We know of certain websites that exist for the sole purpose of radicalizing American Muslims, where they find people that are picked on in high. Tell me if you've heard this story before. They find people who are ostracized and picked on in high school, difficult family lives, difficult adjusting to normal, and they prey on that, feed on that, and radicalize it. We're aware of sites like that exist. That's no different than how men's rights activists operate. That's no different from how American white supremacists operate. Like, they all operate under the same, they all use the same operating procedure. Find young kids, ostracize young kids, tell them that their pain isn't the source of their own doing. It's all these external things. This is why you're angry. This is why
somebody else's fault.
It's always someone else's fault. You know whose fault it is? Women, blacks, Jews, or so for ISIS, it's, you know whose fault it is? American exceptionalism, Christianity, women. For white nationalists, it's women, blacks, Jews. They all follow the same playbook. So yes, we are aware of those sorts of sites. And in 2009, we tracked a few of those for white nationalists. We stopped doing that in 2015. So,
yeah, because white nationalists are the biggest terrorist group in America. But all right, more on the next one. Stop romanticizing the Civil War. And what I mean by that is, you always see when people talk about Civil War, it was brother against brother. It was friend against friend, and no, it wasn't. I mean, maybe it was, but it was brother against brother in the terms of your brother was pro-slavery and was a piece of shit. The other brother might have also been kind of pro-slavery, but was like, well, you should listen to us a little bit here. Either way, one view was really, really fucking bad.
Right. When we talk about the Civil War, what is the cop-out? Oh, it was states' rights. No, it was specifically the states' rights to own slaves. In the case of, I think it's the case of Georgia. Georgia even said, look, if you guys want to tax us a little bit more for the slaves, cool, well, listen, but we're not giving this shit up.
Almost all of the states that succeeded, and almost all of their declarations of that mention slavery. So when you say it wasn't about slavery, but your declaration to secede from the Union invokes slavery, it was slavery.
Right.
So if your brother's in the North and he's against slavery, and you're in the South and you're pro-slavery, it might be brother against brother, but one brother has a really terrible viewpoint.
Right. So, and the other thing, the North wasn't so much anti-slavery as they were
anti-self getting too much money.
Right. So they're like, look, y'all, Maryland specifically, Maryland offered the suggestion, look, y'all can keep the slaves, just kick a little bit back up to us so that we don't have an imbalance in the country's economy, because you guys have free labor down there.
And that's why I always hate the, making it black and white into it was about slavery. It wasn't about slavery. It's like, it was all about slavery, and the North technically really weren't. They were the good guys, but not really the good guys.
Right.
Because if the South had agreed to kick back more money to the North would have gone along with slavery.
Yes.
Anyway. So, but that goes back to the idea of don't romanticize this. Don't make it seem like it was all good. And the reason for that is because you're living the same lie today. You're living the same lie when you have Katy Perry going, well, I voted for Hillary Clinton, but my folks voted for Trump, but I'm going to go home with them and spend time with them at Thanksgiving anyway, and it'll be all good. No, it's not going to be all good. Your parents voted for a white nationalist.
And that's the thing.
What are you going to do about that?
You have to confront it. There has to be consequence. The dude that murdered that woman and drove his car through those protesters in Charlottesville, his mom was like, I had no idea. I never talked to him about his politics. Compare that to another reaction. These parents just found out their kid was there, and they said, oh, no, he can never come home again.
Yeah. She knew enough of his politics. She knew it was a Trump rally.
Oh, yeah. She knew it was a Trump rally.
So you knew up front what he was going to do. And you can't be innocent from it. But that's what happens, though. Like, white people try to... You can't separate this. And it's the same thing they do with the Civil War. You can't romanticize this and make it seem like it's okay. It was just a disagreement here. And you can move forward from it. Like, no. Like, there should be a Civil War here. There should be a line drawn in the sand. Either you're with us or you're against us and you're the enemy. And that's how it has to be. You can't just move this over, which is kind of what we did when we ended the Civil War. We fought the Civil War, but then the way they smoothed it over was, well, we're just going to let everybody go back to doing what they were doing, but the slaves are free now, but not really, because we're going to have, we're going to have different ways of punishing the black people. We're not going to really make them equal. It's like we found if anything, the Civil War ended on a, like the peace offering to the South was that we'll free the slaves, but not really.
Right. So Reconstruction was not about providing an infrastructure for the new freed black class, because they just freed the slaves. You have created a new class of people. They provided no infrastructure, no support for them. What Reconstruction was about was coddling the white feelings of the Confederates and Confederate sympathizers. That's what the Reconstruction was about. And because of that, like that action, the conscious decision to prioritize white feelings over black suffering, that's why we're here now. Because America has never reconciled the black suffering caused by the Civil War, the black suffering caused by slavery, the black suffering caused by really Europe's interaction with Africa. It's never been reconciled. What has been reconciled is, we'll do all these things to make sure that the white people feel better about themselves after the Civil War. So Maryland state flag, it's got the black and gold checkered in the top left corner, and then it's the red and white cross. That red and white cross was used by Confederate sympathizers in Maryland as a show of force and support. It became, after the Civil War, a flag for white nationalists and like the Klan chapter in what is now Charles County, Maryland.
My hometown. God, I love it.
Before they all adopted the Tennessee battle flag.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Maryland decided to incorporate a symbol of white nationalism, a symbol of white terrorism into their flag to, hold on, I have the exact quote here. And I scrolled right past it. Hold on. All right. Following Lincoln's election in 1861, red and white secession colors appeared on everything from yarn stockings to cravats to children's clothing. The Confederate soldiers in Maryland used red and white as a unique way of identifying their place of birth. It became so associated with rebellion that federal authorities outlawed the display of the flag. So this flag, this outlaw symbol, is now a part of the Maryland flag because in 1904, it represented reconciliation. That's what they wanted to reconcile with rebels, terrorists, and racists.
So again, they reconciled with the rebels, with the traitors, with the treacherous, not with the slaves.
Right. Also, fun fact, if you're ever in Maryland and you see a flag with the cross on the top left, Klan flag. That is a white supremacist. That wherever that flag is being raised, it's a safe house for white supremacists. That's how the Klan would operate. Maryland has a fascinating history with the Klan. That's how they would mark safe houses for the Klan.
Yeah, we definitely have Klan territory here in Maryland. Blue state, by the way.
Bluest of the blue.
Bluest of blue. But Klan state. Funny, right? So along the lines of this, stop entertaining the "it's about protecting history" argument, because it's such a bullshit argument. I keep seeing, I saw somebody else bring this up the other day. It was just, and the black guy got so upset when the white guy was talking, and I can't remember who the black guy was that was doing this, and the white guy was just full of shit because the argument's full of shit.
Right.
Here's the thing: people keep saying, and even the president, 45, Mad King, says that, where do we stop? And we're erasing history. Monuments are not about, you don't erect monuments and statues for history. Monuments and statues are they're to show achievement, they're to show reverence, they're to show, you remember, that's what it's for. It's not for historical purposes. That's not the main purpose of that. If you want it just about history, hey, here's a novel thought. Update the fucking history books.
Update the history books.
Take a picture.
So the parallel people like to make is how America resolved the Civil War versus what happened in Germany after they lost World War II. Mm-hmm. Germany banned all paraphernalia, they banned Nazi propaganda, and they left the concentration camps open and sort of turned them into museums of this is how horrific these things were. They will never happen again. I actually saw an image. It was a train station apparently in Germany where they still have listed on and it's like a little spot. They have on the train stops.
or stops at the concentration camp.
Yes.
Like, that's what they do to show you, to remind you how horrific this shit was.
Also, where is Adolf Hitler buried? No one knows where Adolf Hitler is buried. No one knows where Goebbels is buried. These are not people that they hold up to some high ideal. Robert E. Lee and Jefferson Davis get highways.
Mm-hmm. Apparently, there's a unique thing where a lot of people now are doing their research on this, like the Lee Highway system and how the Daughters of the Confederate have basically made it so that it's all the Lee highways, they basically connect in a way that basically go from East Coast to West Coast, I believe, on this, and it's a fascinating thing, and it's just like how the Daughters of the Confederate like are behind almost that and almost all of these Confederate monuments. It's like these are not meant to be. This wasn't about preserving history,
right? And you have to also look at when these were erected.
So that's the other thing too. Something like 80% of them were created during the Reconstruction or during the Civil Rights Movement. So this wasn't about honoring the Confederate soldier that died or anything like that. This seems like it's a direct like shot at, telling black people to stay in their fucking lanes during Reconstruction and the Civil Rights era.
So, Baltimore, in the dead of night, took down all their statues. Mm-hmm. There was a rumor that the mayor's office and the attorney general's office had received notification that either you take them down or we take them down. I can't confirm that rumor. That's the rumor that's going around.
Yeah.
One of the statues they took down was of one Roger Taney. Roger Taney, not a Confederate soldier. He is the Chief Justice who presided over the Dred Scott case.
Well, wait. His wasn't even taken down that night.
No.
His was the one that was taken down a couple days later, because that's out in front of, the district court, I believe?
Yep. So, they erected a statue of the Chief Justice presiding over the Dred Scott case, which said black people are not citizens. That statue went up in 1872. After black people had been freed from slavery. Why would you erect a statue in 1872 in Maryland of the person who said black people aren't citizens?
There was a high school or there's a school named after him.
Oh yeah,
and they renamed it to I think Thurgood Marshall School because of that. Like one of the students did a paper on Danley, and they were like, this guy was racist as fuck.
Yes.
And then the school was like, okay, maybe we should change our name. But you got to ask yourself, it's like, so you get all this stuff. And again, you get all these stories about how they were mass produced. They basically, these statue companies, they mass produce these statues to look like same statue. You could use it for either Union or Confederate, and they were made cheap. That's why the one in I think North Carolina came down so easy. It just got pulled down and it crumpled like a rag doll because they're cheaply made. They're not made well, So you gotta stop. You got to stop entertaining this idea that if you tear them down, you're removing history. Because then you got to ask yourself, well, where are the statues and the monuments to slaves? Where are the statues and monuments to slave rebellions? Where are the statues and monuments to indigenous Native Americans? Like, there's all this talk about, the truest thing that Donald Trump said was when he said, if you tear down this, what's next? George Washington and Thomas Jefferson. And while I understand the nuanced arguments for why Thomas Jefferson and George Washington are different, the correct answer is yes.
Well, one, if you're asking that question, that just shows me you're not mature enough to have this debate, so the answer is yes.
Yeah, and it's the same thing with the street harassment case. It's like, so I can't talk to women on the street? No. You can't. Because
you're asking that question? Nope, you've lost your privileges.
Because the reason for that is we can't have the nuanced discussions about Thomas Jefferson and George Washington because honestly, they've been whitewashed so much, we can't have those conversations right now. Like just a couple weeks ago, there was articles about how Sally
mistress
was a mistress. She was a underage slave who he raped.
Yes. Teenagers cannot consent. So even if you go under the assumption that Sally Hemings was having, from her perspective, consensual sex with Thomas Jefferson, teenagers cannot consent.
George Washington, maybe he wasn't a harsh slave master. Still a slave master.
So, George Washington's wooden teeth?
Mm-hmm. Slaves' teeth.
Yeah, slave teeth.
Yeah.
He would take the teeth from his slaves to replace his own.
All right. So, I'm fine with understanding that, hey, listen, these are founding fathers. These are, founded America. But look, you got to understand that they also weren't good people. They weren't good men. Andrew Jackson was a piece of shit. Andrew Jackson committed genocide against Native Americans.
Yes.
Right? So when Donald Trump says that he looks to Andrew Jackson as a president to emulate after, I get nervous because he wants to be a person. And this is after he did the general Pershing, and he basically said that we should commit genocide against Islamic terrorists.
Yeah.
So these make me nervous. All right. So, I think Geraldo came out, thought he was saying something good. He was like, so if we take down statues of General Lee, well, let's take down statues of Christopher Columbus. And I'm like, yeah, motherfucker, yes. He definitely shouldn't have statues here because Christopher Columbus was definitely about that genocide. Christopher Columbus was even more of a piece of shit than George Washington or Thomas Jefferson or anybody else. Christopher Columbus was a huge piece of shit. And the fact that we acknowledge him and give reference to this, and that's the problem. This is why, I think this is where so many white people go into the slippery slope thing is, and then we got to protect history. It's not about protecting history. You're worried because your heroes were pieces of shit. I always go back to, when I talk about why, I always say this. President Barack Obama was the best president we've ever had.
That's factual.
And this is not to say he's perfect. Not to say he didn't make mistakes, and I'll get into some of that stuff later. He definitely did. But compared to every other white president we've had, white male president we've had, infinitely better. No matter what, I always have people go, FDR. FDR locked up Japanese Americans in internment camps.
You cannot be a good president and intern your own citizens for no reason. Right? He under FDR, Japanese Americans were systematically rounded up and pushed into internment camps.
We were only one step away from putting them in the ovens. And look, here's the thing. If the World War II went any worse,
that's we don't. No, I can actually say that with certainty. If it had started turning in Japan's favor, we would have started killing them. That's. I've seen enough of America to know. Oh yeah, they would have started killing them.
Experimenting on them, something.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You can't say FDR. So, but there's a problem. Because we never bring that up. Or when it is brought up, we downplay it. I have so many people go, yeah, but I think FDR did so much, there was the New Deal and there was, I'm like, well, it did exclude black people. Oh, well, I understand that. And, well, he didn't turn Japanese. Well, you want to make excuses for these people. There are no excuses. And until you stop making excuses, no, we can't have statues of these people.
Right, because you have proven that you're not mature enough to actually discuss these people. You'd rather mythologize them.
Look, we have the black community. We have serious discussion and understanding about our black heroes. MLK, we know it's not perfect. Malcolm X, we know it's not perfect, but we at least acknowledge that. You have to acknowledge that shit.
It's so. Bring this to a more relatable subject, I guess. People don't like when their heroes are deconstructed, right? One of the main complaints about Coates' Black Panther run is he's human. He's flawed. And we're seeing the flaws of not just him, but of Wakanda itself. People don't like that. They like to have the mythology of Wakanda, this unconquerable city, this technological beacon, the Black Panther, the smartest human being in the world. He can't be beaten. It's well, why is he taking all these L's? And I'm like, you guys don't understand. This is the greatest story ever told with these characters in this place. He's showing you the flaws and showing you what makes this person that person, and you have to accept them flaws and all. But no one wants to do that with their heroes. They don't like when Batman is deconstructed. So I just finished the I Am Suicide run. People don't like that run.
They were out of their minds.
Critics love it, but fans are like, I don't like it. And I'm like, why? And they're like, it's not Batman. And I'm like, it is. It's the most Batman story ever, though. But it shows you he's human. It shows you his flaws. And they don't want to see their heroes as anything other than heroic. They don't want to see George Washington as anything other than the hero of the revolution.
And he can't be both. He can be the hero of revolution, also be a terrible person, because all these people, all these presidents before the Civil Rights Act didn't give a shit about black people.
You could even argue the one that signed the Civil Rights Act didn't give a shit about black people. He just saw the writing on the wall and said the way to preserve the republic.
I'll be honest. I think every white president before then thought that it was just, either over and done with, or they didn't want those problems.
Right.
And they thought that was like, so I'm sorry. There's all this talk about Mount Rushmore needs to go back. I think it's the Lakota tribe needs to go back. Sorry. Like I'm like, it needs to be blown up. But when I say it needs to be blown up, it needs to be blown up and given back to them. Yes. Because they stole the land from Native Americans, then erected the faces of 4 white presidents.
The faces of their conquerors.
The faces of the conquerors. Like, it is.
Like, it is a giant middle finger.
A huge middle finger. All right? So, but things like this need to go. So I just feel, well, you know, if we start talking about this, we start talking about, and I've seen white people who are on our side go, well, let's not start bringing in Mount Rushmore into this. It might be too. No. If you guys want to have this conversation, if you really want to move forward, if you really want to heal like you say you want to heal, all of this stuff needs to be talked about.
Right.
Let's put it all on the table. Let's all talk about it because, let's be honest here, Mount Rushmore is a travesty.
But it's not about healing. It's about the coddling. Going back to Reconstruction, it's about the coddling of white feelings.
So what do you want to be? You want to heal? Do you want to move forward? Do you want to actually address the problems? Or do you just want to feel good about yourself, go out to a visual, hold up a candle and say, we are one, we love each other, and go back home and not give a fuck about this shit anymore? So I can't stand the fucking visuals. I hate those shit. I hate the visuals that we have after this shit. After Charleston, after Charlottesville, I hate the fuck out of it. Oh, we are one. Oh, we came together as love and blah, blah, blah. Fuck you. I'm sorry. I don't fucking buy any of that shit. I don't care about the fucking rallies. It's important to show up to the rallies. It's important to do that shit. But that shit doesn't mean, it doesn't matter to me that 20,000 people showed up in Boston, 30,000 people showed up in Boston to counter protest Nazis. You want to know why? Because guess what? You're going to go home. Boston's going to go back to being the most racist fucking place north of the Mason-Dixon line. As long as Boston stays racist, who gives a fuck if you showed up at a fucking rally one day out of a fucking week? At this point, I'm too tired. I don't give a fuck. That doesn't matter to me. Show up when, and this is not in the list. I'm going to take a little detour here. It's been bothering me, all the outpouring of feelings and how all this reaction has been because Heather Heyer died, which is a tragedy, but she's white. If this was a black person, wouldn't see this. I know because we've seen this before. We've seen white officers shoot black people dead to fucking rights, and you don't get all these other white people showing up. You don't get the national conversation about this shit. And shit does not happen. But she was white. Now all of a sudden it's, oh, this can happen to us. We need to protest. That's not good enough. It's never been good enough. It damn sure isn't now. And I'm not giving you fucking credit for showing up at the... Literally, Nazis are the lowest of the fucking low. It is the easiest bar to fucking clear. I can't give you fucking credit for that shit.
So, to your point, you know how I know you're right? Before Heather was murdered, DeAndre Harris was beaten to within an inch of his life by Nazis at that same rally.
Still haven't heard anything about him. They've identified some of the people. Yes. They have not been arrested.
There have been no arrests in the assault of DeAndre Harris.
One of them one of the Nazis he's actually Puerto Rican. He did a fucking video. Do you see his fucking video? He did a video where he admits to beating him. Nothing has fucking happened to him. I'm sorry. I hate to bring race into it, but I don't feel all warm and fuzzy inside because guess what? When it happens to black people, you all don't show up. We don't get the same outpouring of feelings. We don't get the outpouring of Republicans and Democrats. We don't get the country coming together when Tamir Rice was fucking shot.
And let's recap what happened to Tamir Rice. He was playing in the park by himself when a police officer someone called 911, lied and said Tamir was pointing a gun at people. There was no one for him to point the gun at because he was in the park by himself, as video shows, but lied. The cops showed up, and within 2 seconds of the cops pulling up to the scene, they shot Tamir Rice. He didn't die instantly. He bled out for 3.5 minutes. He received no medical attention. No call was made to get him medical attention. What they did do, though, was they made sure to handcuff his sister when his sister came out so she could watch her brother bleed to death.
He was 12 years old. Philando Castile. We saw the video. Nothing happened.
A legal gun owner who was complying. Nothing happened.
John Crawford shot in a Walmart with a BB gun. had a BB gun. Said it's not real. On the phone, his girlfriend shot, dead. Nothing happened. Who was it? Was it Terrence Crutcher, the one that got shot by that white female
in
cop?
Cincinnati?
Not in Cincinnati.
No. Terrence Crutcher was in Oklahoma.
Was it the one that had his hands up when he was walking? You see the sky camera?
I think that's Oklahoma.
I'm sorry. Here's the thing. There's been so many. I've lost track of them. So I gotta ask. It's like, so when you guys come together for that?
You don't come together for Corin Gaines when the police when a SWAT team came to her house for a parking ticket.
Sandra Bland. Was it Rakia Boyd? Was that the one that got shot by?
Did the cops kill Rakia Boyd or did her neighbor kill Rakia Boyd?
Well, no. So her neighbor was an off-duty cop.
That's what it was.
Who came out, wasn't aiming at her, shot somebody else because they were making too much fucking noise. He feared for his life. He was off-duty. He had been drinking. Shot her dead in the head.
There's another woman called the cops because her boyfriend that she had a restraining order on was trying to break. She thought he was trying to break into the house. She called the cops. She had a knife and she said, "I'm afraid you're going to shoot me." They told her, "We're not going to shoot." Chandra Lyles, "We're not going to shoot you." She said, "Okay." She stepped out. They shot her dead. After telling her, "We're not going to shoot you."
So I just got to ask. I'm just saying because, you know, when are you guys going to show up for them? Remember when, I'm sorry, I had it written down. I lost it. What was the name of the young girl who was being harassed by the white nationalists and the two white dudes came to her rescue and they were stabbed? One of them died. The other one was in the hospital. I can't remember. It was a little Muslim girl. I can't remember what her name was.
That happened in VA, didn't it? No, she got kidnapped in VA.
No, that was Seattle. I think this was Seattle, or Oregon, or something like that. I remember because the one of the white dudes who got stabbed had to come out and tell people, like, listen, I got enough support. Give her support.
Right.
Because it's not about me. It's all about the fact that she was being attacked. And they've lost sight of that. It's like, so many of you all need a white face before you realize it's a fucking problem. And that drives me fucking crazy.
Right, because now it's human to you. It's relatable to you.
How did we get here? Well, we've always been fucking here. It's been here. What happened in Charlottesville is no different than what happened in fucking Ferguson. It really isn't. But you don't see that as the same thing, so it's not real to you. So
take it a step further. What happened in Charlottesville when they were protesting or when they did the Nazi march? That's no different than a Trump rally.
It really isn't. Really isn't. So, all right, moving back into what's stuff that we need to do. Stop interviewing the black friend. There are a lot of these in here. I'm gonna see if I can bring some of these up here. First one I'm bringing up because this is I love this one. This is the guy Gianno Caldwell. He's on Fox News, and he got a little emotional after Trump. Let me see if I can play some of this.
This week it's Robert E. Lee. I noticed that Stonewall Jackson's coming down. I wonder, is it George Washington next week? And is it Thomas Jefferson?
Again, realest thing, truest thing, most accurate thing Trump has ever fucking said. Just want to throw it out there.
Week after. You know, you really do have to ask yourself, where does it stop?
Interesting point there. Here to debate, John Hopkins professor Wendy Estefo and GOP political analyst Gianno Caldwell. Good morning to both of you. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning.
All right, this has become really a hot button issue and a big debate around this country. Wendy, where do you fall on this?
To be quite honest, the takedown of the Confederate Soldiers Monument in my home state of Durham, North Carolina, it's beyond a monument. This is about hatred. This is about white supremacy. And to have Heather Heyer killed on U.S. soil by Nazis, DeAndre Harris beaten and bludgeoned by Nazis. This is not talking points here. This is not partisanship. This is human life. And as a mother, to hear the president of these United States not sit here and condemn what has happened, as a black woman of two black boys, my heart bleeds. This is not talking points here. This is personal. And we as a nation, as a country, have to do better.
Gianno, do you agree with that? Do you think, they're good people on both sides of this?
She got his fucking name wrong.
Yeah.
So first of all, dude.
I didn't catch that the first time I saw this, by the way.
So first of all, 'cause I think most of the time you only just see his reaction to it. You don't get the entire panel. So first of all, motherfucker, you're you're on a network where they don't even get your fucking name wrong. She called you fucking John. She called you fucking
So John, I'm sorry, Gianno.
Gianno.
There's no.
There's not even a fucking J in the fucking name, yo. What the fuck?
Debate. We talk about keeping these statues up. People that I've talked to say this is about history. How do we move forward? How do we learn from those mistakes if we just tear everything down?
You know, I come today with a very heavy heart. Last night I couldn't sleep at all because President Trump, our president, has literally betrayed the conscience of our country, the very moral fabric in which we've made progress when it comes to race relations in America. He's failed us. And it's very unfortunate that our president would say things like he did in that press conference yesterday when he says, well, there's, you know, good people on the side of the Nazis. They weren't all Nazis. They weren't all white supremacists. Well, Mr. President, good people don't pile around with Nazis and white supremacists. Maybe.
All right,
It's not funny, but it's funny.
So again, you know, crying and upset and all this shit. But I'm like, yo, this motherfucker,
When I saw him, I'm like, this motherfucker looks familiar. I've seen him somewhere before.
So let's see let's see.
A host and a Fox News contributor, and Gianno, I hope I said that right, Gianno. Did I? Caldwell?
Gianno, yes, you are. That's
fantastic. Principal.
So no, I didn't catch this. Like motherfucker, this is another show from I think this is from like 2016 from last year. Motherfucker, they don't even know your name. Like they booked you on the fucking like. This is what you're working with. This is what you're caping for. Are these people? They don't even know your fucking name, sir. Anyway, I'm sorry. Let me keep playing.
Principal and founder of Caldwell Strategic Consulting. He's also a former Republican County Director of African American Outreach in the state of Illinois. Great to have the both of you today. So here's what I wanted to start on. I wanted to start on something that Donald Trump said last night during his victory press conference, where it really caught my attention because he said, look, I really am going to go out there as a GOPer and I'm going to go for the African American vote. Let's listen to it.
We're going to do great with the African Americans. And you see that in the polls, where I had one poll where I'm 25%. And one of the commentators, who I think is standing right in the back of the room in the corner, said, you know, if Donald Trump gets 25% of the African American vote, this election is over. You watch. And the reason I'm getting that, and I'm going to do great with the Hispanics, I'm going to do great with virtually every group. The reason is I'm going to bring jobs back.
So, Gianno, do you agree with that? Will Donald Trump do better than maybe anyone else on the GOP side as far as getting the African-American vote?
Well, first, let me clear up some confusion because there seemed to be some confusion in terms of Donald Trump. Donald Trump is not racist. He has black friends. He's in good shape. Now, in terms of
Wait. How do we get? No one said anything about Trump being racist. No one said anything about Trump being racist. No one said anything about how do we? He just led with Trump isn't racist. He has black friends.
Well, I mean, Trump does have black friends, so point Gianno or John or where the fuck they're calling you now on Fox News. He's also done other interviews last year. Basically, when talking about Black Lives Matter, basically going to the what about black on black crime route and stuff like that. So I'm saying all that to say, keep your fucking cheers, Gianno. Nobody fucking. No. I don't fucking care.
You know what happened to him? He got his real nigga wake up call. That rally showed him, and Trump's response to that rally, it clicked with him. Oh, they don't care about my black ass. It doesn't matter how respectable I am. It doesn't matter how tight my bow tie is. It doesn't matter how sharp my suits are. It doesn't matter how I parrot their views and cape for them. Still nigga.
Yeah. Well, and that's why you're seeing them really scraping the bottom of the barrel right now with black people going on the table. Like you had another one came on. A Fox guy said that the LGBT rainbow flag is just as offensive as the Confederate flag.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah. No, I'm not even lying about this one. Let's see if I can get this video that come up. But yeah, it's just as offensive.
So the flag that is literally the Confederate flag. So during the Civil War, the Confederacy had no one standard flag. It was all the flags of different state battle regiments. The Confederate flag you see now was made popular by the Ku Klux Klan because that was the flag of Tennessee, and they were founded in Tennessee, and they said, okay, this is going to be our flag because this will make black people think that we're the ghosts of the Confederacy, come back to haunt and kill them. That is your Confederate flag. It is literally the flag of the Klan. It is literally the flag of black terror. How is a rainbow flag how is that? What? I'm
terrified of gays, so it makes sense. I mean, if you're a homophobe, then you're terrified of gays. So I can see how that rainbow flag would make you pitch your pants. Oh, shit. Come on. We got buffering.
Well, that's buffering. You know who would be afraid of the rainbow flag?
Racism is evil.
Oh, yes.
So do you remember the second time he got knocked out in D.C.? Mm-hmm. When he was up in D.C., he got glitter bombed. And after he got glitter bombed, this dude in a rainbow tank top came up behind. It was like the glitter bomb was a smoke bomb. He came up behind it, caught him. It was when they punch him, it's like a half punch. Right. He caught him dead in the jaw. I was like, oh, that's beautiful. That's wow.
You know, the only thing better than that was when I was watching. I think it was Seattle this week where Alex Jones was like a madman.
Yo!
Listen, if you can't go and find the video of Alex Jones walking around the city.
Oh, he was wilding.
He was lost. Alex Jones lost his goddamn mind. And he was going, people were telling him to shut the fuck up. He was running after them. One dude poured hot coffee. I don't think it was hot, but he poured his coffee on him and it was like, what you gonna do? Like, it was hilarious.
Like, this dude said, fuck you. He said, hey, you. He hawked him down.
He Usain bolted him. He bolted him, yo.
He hit that R2 and said, get back here. Get back here. Explain yourself as an intellectual to me. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
He really did say, explain yourself as an intellectual to me. He really did say that shit. I'm not even making that shit up. He really did say that shit. Let's see if we can play this. Come on, play.
Who cause violence in its name are criminals and thugs, including the KKK, neo-Nazis, white supremacists, and other hate groups that are repugnant to everything we hold dear as Americans.
There's a president in the White House yesterday once again condemning the violence in Charlottesville on Saturday, this time naming some of the hate groups involved. But that apparently not good enough for some on the political left. Here to discuss is Star Parker, founder and president of the Center for Urban Renewal and Education, joins us from our nation's capital. Star, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Let's start at the beginning. Did you think that the president's comments on Saturday, the day of this particular event, were too vague and not appropriate?
No, actually, I thought they were very appropriate and on point. The point at that point was that the alt-right and the alt-left met in an American city over a very local issue. It escalated into a riot very quickly, and he needed to calm it down before it spread across the country. No, he was exactly on point. There is an alt-right and there is a alt-left, and this war between the two sides has been going on for an awful long time.
You're describing a culture war, Star.
It is a culture war. And when you think about it, David Duke, he thinks that the president is dog whistling him that we're going to go back to the Confederacy is just as wrong as the hard left that thinks that this country is not about traditions, limited government, open and free markets, and e pluribus unum.
What country? Wait.
Multiculturalism and diversity that they keep promoting.
What country is she talking about?
What the fuck? So, okay. On the one hand, we have a return to the Confederacy, and on the other hand, we have free market, limited government. Like, what the? Okay, no. I want to hear how she gets to the Confederate flag from here.
It's even worse.
No, there is a cultural war, and it is escalating, and so Americans must rally around the fact that we do not want to end up in a civil war.
Right.
We battle in the voting booth. We battled in the voting booth last November. The alt-left lost, and they are pretty upset about it.
The president sent out a couple of tweets yesterday. Here is one of them. Made additional remarks on Charlottesville and realized once again that the fake news media will never be satisfied. Truly bad people. What do you think about that?
I think that there is an alt-left media as well, and its challenge for us is to sort through which is legitimate media, even if they're center-left and they're mainstreamed. When you think about the alt, it is the extreme of both sides, and yes, he is not getting a fair play with the alt-left because what he was trying to address on Saturday is very different than whether he agrees with people or people group or individuals that voted for him or not. The president did not decide who gets to vote for him. The only place that the president can speak into who does not get to vote is when that voter is illegal, not when it is a legal vote cast. So this left-wing media that has a narrative that they're going to do any and everything to disrupt this presidency, it has to be confronted, and that's what he is doing.
What do you think about Nancy Pelosi, who made this statement yesterday? It shouldn't take the President of the United States 2 days to summon the basic decency to condemn murder and violence by Nazis and white supremacists.
That is not what happened. Nancy Pelosi is exploiting an opportunity that they think will their side. On Saturday, there were two sides that were in an American city and it was escalating very rapidly. No, the question became then, well, do you denounce the one part of it? But you know what's really interesting and a really incredible irony here is the same people that are demanding that the Confederate flag comes down are the same people that are insisting that the rainbow flag goes up. These two flags represent the exact same thing, that certain people groups are not welcome here. So if Nancy Pelosi wants to say that we're going to start shutting down First Amendment rights of a certain group of people, then what happens the next time that the homosexuals want to walk through an American city and protest and counter-protesters come out?
All right. Star Parker joining us today.
I had to play the whole thing so you get the appropriate setup for how she just throws it in there. It's like, I mean, you were already failing. It was already bad. But Jesus Christ. Like, what the fuck?
The flag that is literally a symbol to inspire, to evoke fear in black people is the same as a flag that represents the entire gender sexual spectrum.
What's going to happen when counter-protesters come out here when the homosexuals are coming out to take they're letting us know that they don't want us there. It's like, oh, no, that's not what the rainbow flag. But that goes to what the mentality is of everybody, right? That when you see Black Lives Matter, when you see gay pride, LGBTQ pride, and all those, you immediately think that it means you're excluded from it. Which is not what it means. It means these are marginalized groups who are asking to be recognized, but somehow you see it and make it about you going, that means you don't want me to exist. Because you think that somehow them getting these other groups getting rights mean we're going to do to you what you've done to us. And that's where the real fear comes out.
They always tell themselves. Again, Vice has been doing this these documentaries on white nationalists and white supremacists. The fear is white people are becoming a minority. Mm-hmm. And one guy said, if your argument is minorities have it better in America than white people, why would you be afraid of being a minority? And he was like, well, you know what happens to minorities. And then he was like, so are you saying that minorities are mistreated and marginalized? And like, he just stopped. He was just like, fuck. Right? Like the assumption is we're going to treat you the way you've treated us. The thing is, when they hear like Black Lives Matter or they see the rainbow flag, they don't see themselves centered. Mm-hmm. They assume if I am not centered, it must not be for me because you've been centered in everything else your entire life.
Right. I want to say too, the Vice thing they did on Charlottesville when they met with some of those Charlottesville neo-Nazis and things like that. That's an example of like good journalism to me.
Yeah.
Because it's terrifying, so you can see how they think. Like we need stuff like that because here's the other thing too is the woman who interviewed them. I don't know her name, but
she is disgusted the entire time,
and you could tell that she was disgusted when she was interviewing them. And that's what you need. Fuck that whole. I'm gonna give both sides equal time. I'm gonna give them equal play. In the middle of that interview, she interviews people that are not white nationalists to show the other side, the side of good. And you can see by the way she interviews them and the way they talk to them, how she falls down in line with that. And then when she talks to these guys, like at one point that Cantwell dude says, she did the follow-up interview after Heather Heyer died. She goes, hey, somebody died out here. He basically goes, well, it's still a good day for us because nobody on our side died.
Yeah.
And you need that to show plainly how that's the only type of interview I will allow when you don't give them space to look like the good guys, because nowhere in there do they look like good guys. They look like the fucking Nazis.
Yes, that at no point is it framed as just another point of view. No, it is framed as something horrible and horrific. The other thing the Vice, I think it's the first part of it or the prelude to that they did was they showed how normal people get wrapped up in it. And they showed how appealing the message is to them while still being horrifying to you. And it's like, this is how your neighbor gets caught up in it.
All right, so let's move on to the next big thing that I want the media to start doing. And this is a big one. I need the media to stop letting the GOP off the hook. You need to start you need to recognize that any GOP member now that comes out and says, oh, well, we denounced Trump and they're already too fucking late. The GOP party needs to be out on an island by itself as the racist party that it is. It's been driving me crazy when I see people like Ann Navarro, Nicole Wallace, who was a communication director for George W. Bush. You have people like Michael Steele, former RNC chairman. All these people, this isn't my party. Joe Scarborough loved doing that. This isn't my party. This isn't my GOP party. It is their fucking party.
Yes.
And it has been their party since the Republicans started decided to go with the Southern strategy. That is what this is. Ever since they switched sides with the Democrats after the Civil Rights Act, this has been their party.
Right. Once they realized we can't compete with the black vote, quote unquote, we'll just go after the anti-black vote.
So, first of all, the DCCC, what does that stand for? That stands for the Democratic Committee for something. I can't remember what it is. This is for the committee to electing Democrats in the U.S. House of Representatives. They dropped a nuke on, I think it was Friday, either Thursday or Friday. I think it might have been Thursday. I think I was in the office on Thursday. They said Trump's response to Charlottesville was indefensible. Let's take a look at how the House GOP has been promoting racism and xenophobia. And they went and they named names.
They did the Summer Jam screen and said, this congressman is responsible for this. You're responsible for this.
This is what the DNC needs to have been doing for the longest time. So they went in. Barbara Comstock, Virginia District 10, said immigrants should be tracked like FedEx packages. There's North Dakota. GOP Representative Kevin Kramer said that there was some validity to the White House comment that not even Hitler gassed his own people. California 48 GOP Representative Dana Rohrabacher spoke at a rally featuring white nationalists and Nazis. She also came out and spoke at she also met with He also met with Julian Assange. California 50, District 50, GOP Representative Duncan Hunter compared membership into the House Hispanic Bar Association to a white supremacist group. Colorado 06, GOP Representative Kaufman spoke to a leading anti-Muslim group and said of Obama, his heart he's not an American. Steve King, who I love Steve King as being as racist as he is from Iowa. We can't restore our civilization with somebody else's babies. Remember, I believe this is the one who he said at the RNC on camera on a panel at MSNBC.
Did he say that one, or did he say that we are only white Judeo-Christians have contributed to society?
That might have been the one he said. So
both of these on camera. I'm just trying to remember the timeline of when he said these things.
Steve King is a white nationalist. He is a white supremacist. He is a neo-Nazi. Shorting all, he is a Nazi. We need to understand that about Steve King. We can't remember where he said this at because he said a lot of things like this.
Yeah, and it's not like it's a secret. He says this on camera, on CNN, on MSNBC, on Fox News, at panels. Like, he's not hiding the fact that he wants white people to come. He wants white people to make a comeback.
GOP Representative Michigan, Tim Wahlberg said he doesn't know if Obama was born in America. because it wasn't just Trump who was a birther. There was a lot of birthers in, Representative Jason Lewis wrote that President Abraham Lincoln exploited the issue of slavery. Which, you know what? I'll let him go with that one because it's not too wrong. Now, the way he probably meant this probably wasn't good. And
he's saying he was just pandering to those niggers.
Yeah.
No, Lincoln was like, look, if I say they're free, that could cause a little bit of chaos. And
here's one that we know. Representative Greg Gianforte donated to a white nationalist and politician associated with the Oath Keeper movements. This is also, I believe, the guy who
wait, I'm sorry, the O'Keefe Society?
Yeah, the Oath Keeper.
I'm sorry, even better.
Yeah,
the Oath Keepers?
Yeah, but this is the guy who I believe body slammed the media, the reporter.
Oh, the reporter, and won the election.
And still won the election. So just throwing it out there. Yeah, this guy. Representative Pintiger said African American protesters hate white people because white people are successful and they're not. Claudia Tenney, GOP from New York 22, used offensive anti-Italian ethnic slurs about her opponent's family. John Faso spoke to Oath Keepers, members of the far-right militia movement.
Like, no. We know what the Oath Keepers are, right? Like, they're an offshoot of the Knights of Rhodesia. They are a literal white supremacist militia.
Yeah, I believe there are more, but I can't see any more in the... I think they started the thread over again. There are more in there. So the GOP, they went through this. But here's the thing. I want to go even further. Because I think that's a good start. But I have some questions I want people to start asking people who are formerly... I was a former Republican, or I can't be part of this is not my Republican Party now. We're the party of Lincoln. Ask them a couple things. So what I did with this, and I'm going to open both of these up. I went and I looked at the official GOP platform. And I also looked at the official Democratic platform. We're going to get into a little bit because I feel like Democrats, for all the bullshit they deal with, because there's some bullshit with the Democrats. I'm wondering, I don't think a lot of people have looked at the Democratic official platform, because by the time you're done that and you look at them and you compare them to Republicans, I don't think you can legitimately say that both sides are the same, because their platforms are completely different. So everything you ask people about the GOP and where they stand and how you can support the GOP. So where is racial justice in the GOP platform?
Steve King, he says that you can't have a great society with other people's babies. That's racial justice, bringing back white people. So yes, that's.
If you do a search in the GOP official platform, there are 0 mentions of racial justice. Exactly 0. There's 1 mention of it in the Democrat platform. While that might sound like not enough, the Democratic platform has this in there. They have, and they're bringing Americans together, removing barriers to opportunities. This is what they list under there, and they have a different section for each one: ending systemic racism, closing the racial wealth gap, reforming our criminal justice system, fixing our broken immigration system, guaranteeing civil rights, guaranteeing women's rights, guaranteeing lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender rights, guaranteeing rights for people with disabilities, respecting faith and service, investing in rural America, ending poverty, investing in communities left behind, building strong cities in metro areas, promoting arts and culture, honoring indigenous tribal nations, fighting for the people of Puerto Rico, honoring people and territories. We're not done yet. They also have one in here, securing environmental and climate justice. They talk about some stuff in there. So we're getting some of the stuff here. Like that, and again, this is just the outline. You click on those, you go into them, and they give you more details on each one of those. So, again, if the GOP is about healing and about the party of Lincoln and about civil rights as much as they claim, why is there no mention of racial justice in their platform?
Because it was never about that. It's always been the party of the preservation of white male patriarchal supremacy. Oh, and tax cuts. They love their tax cuts.
Why do they list as the biggest civil rights issue of our time school choice?
Which is if school choice is de facto segregation, right? Like school choice is a legal way to segregate schools. You are removing the state and you're removing state and federal governments from schools to allow them to choose their own, right? Like a big part of integration was busing and state governments and federal governments saying you have to take these kids. That doesn't happen with these vouchers.
They mentioned civil rights 4 times. One of those is reaffirming inherent rights of people with disabilities. One is the just saying everybody's due process and civil rights must be safeguarded.
But we know they don't believe that because they make exceptions for Guantanamo. They make exceptions for the Chicago black sites.
Right. So there's that. So next one. Why is bigotry a part of their platform?
Good old Christian values.
Because here's the thing. So again, the Democratic platform mentions by name gay, lesbian, transgender people, right? There is no mention of gay, lesbian, transgender in the Republican platform. 0 mentions of it. 0 mentions. They do, however, make sure they put in there, they affirm that marriage is between a man and a woman. That is in the official GOP platform, which, between one man and one woman is in the platform, which means bigotry is written into the GOP platform.
Yes.
Officially. The official Republican stance is that gay people and transgender people don't even exist because they're not even named in the platform.
Nope. But I got to make sure that, marriage, one man, one woman, because tradition, like that, I don't get the argument for a party that believes in limited government. Why are they so for the government defining what is and isn't a marriage?
Again, if we're going to talk about, the Republicans standing up and how we got here, why is their platform a white nationalist platform? Why is their platform have no mention of racial justice or anything like that? Hey, you know what else isn't mentioned? Ask this question too. Ask Republicans why in their official platform there are 100% of 0 mentions of African Americans.
Oh, really?
African Americans are not mentioned at all by name in the GOP platform. I know because I was like, sometimes people put in the hyphen, right? So you know what I did? I just put African in there. African is only mentioned 4 times, and it's talking about the continent of Africa.
I would have assumed that there would be something in there about empowering African American children to pull themselves up by the bootstraps with a limited government and tax cuts and
Yo, black isn't even mentioned. I thought maybe they went with black. Maybe I should look for colored. Maybe we'll look for colored.
I'm afraid if you Google colored and something comes up. Like, I'm afraid.
All right, color's not in there.
Okay.
Go. Let me see. Negro? No. So we're not even mentioned. So no other races are mentioned in the official GOP platform.
Right.
So, by the way, Democrats definitely do mention it in their platform. In several places, closing a racial gap. They go into reforming the criminal justice. Oh, ask them this. Why in reforming the criminal justice system do they affirm the fact that, and again, I understand that, with all my problems with the death penalty, I understand that, hey, some people do need to die because some people are just horrible people. That's a rough choice. I understand that. But I would never ask for the death penalty, reaffirming the right of the death penalty to be in an official party platform.
Right. Like it's
in an official Republican platform.
That's kind of creepy.
There's no mention of African Americans. There's no mention of the LGBTQ community. But there is mention of, specifically, affirming the right of the death penalty in, get this, the reforming the criminal justice system segment.
Again, the party of small government really wants the government to have the ability to kill people. Like, that's really creepy.
Mind you, the Democratic platform, which, again, when you read the Democratic platform, a lot of things in here that people say that they didn't do. But when you put it in your official platform,
that means we can hold you to it. Right? Like, when you're saying this is part of our official platform, you can now say, hey, you guys said you were going to do this, right? If you believe in that sort of participatory government, then you can petition them and say, hey, you guys said you were going to do this. Where are you? You're not doing this. Like, I think that's where people's frustration with the DNC and Democratic Party comes from. Mm-hmm. It's not the ideas they hold. It's that they don't believe that they are actively racist. They just believe a lot of them are apathetic.
Absolutely.
Like,
and I think that's a good. Here's the thing. And I'm using the Democratic Party because this is a party that people think are not to the left enough. I'm using you to show you just how stark the difference is between the two main parties.
Oh, yeah.
When you go into the left, and I'll even say this, I don't even think the differences are that huge between this and some of the, like, people might not know this. The official Democratic platform mentions universal health care. Universal health care is in the official Democratic, platform. It might not be single payer, but they mention moving towards universal health care. That is not in the GOP platform. But again, just going back to the racial stuff. So the platform is out of the way. So fuck it. We can't go to the platform because we know the GOP platform is fucking terrible. So I want you to then start asking individual GOP members, former members and things like current members there. Simple question, and this will show you exactly why it's full of shit to get why Trump exists and why we're at where we're at now. Where do you stand on Black Lives Matter? It's that simple. Ask any person in the GOP, ask any Republican where they stand on the Black Lives Matter, and you'll see that you are the party of Trump. You're not the party of Lincoln. You're the party of civil rights, because they're going to tell you they don't support Black Lives Matter. That Black Lives Matter
it's a hate group.
It's a hate group. They support the police. Which, by the way, Trump did that this weekend. We tweeted out support.
I saw that. He said the anti-police protesters. I'm like,
So you can't say that both sides are the same. So don't let the GOP get away, because what's going to happen is they're going to denounce Trump right now. They're going to use him firing or letting Bannon go to get off the hook. They're gonna try to get back to some normalcy and then come back this fall and try to get pushed through more things. Like, don't let them get away with this shit. How is going along with Jeff Sessions and closing down the civil rights divisions of the DOJ? How is that any different than what Trump, like, how is that not emboldening white supremacy?
Right, like they putting Jeff Sessions, who made his entire legal career terrorizing black people, making him your attorney general. Yes, that is signaling to those white supremacists, this is okay, we're okay. A lot of the boards and a lot of the places on the dark web where these people congregate, they said his first couple statements, they felt good about them because they were saying he's not really coming at us, right? The statement he made on Tuesday when he was just reacting, saying, "Oh, it's on both sides." Mm-hmm. They said that's a good sign. It means what we're doing is working. They're like, "Oh, we know he can't acknowledge us by name, but he's giving us cover. He appreciates us. We're doing the right thing." Right? Like, this shit matters.
You can't let these people go off the hook. You can't let the GOP go along with, they shouldn't be shocked by Trump. The GOP is a group that will literally let anything happen as long as they can get their little pet project through. They're the reason for this. There's a direct line from Trump to when John McCain let Sarah Palin as his VP pick. The reason he picked Sarah Palin and everybody else he could have picked, because she tapped into and she gave him the red meat Republican base that they want. The Tea Party. Like, people are so shocked at the idea that the Oath Keepers and these militias would show up with. They were doing this in the Tea Party.
Once again, listen, black people, we told you in 2007 that the Tea Party is racist. No, they're not racist. You're just saying that because they're opposing a black guy. No, I'm saying that because they're like
racist.
They're lynching Obama and burning him in effigy. Like, they're espouting a lot of racist ideology. Nope, you let the Tea Party slide. You said, okay, this isn't us. We're not the Tea Party. You let Gamergate slide. You said, okay, this isn't us. This is just Gamergate. You let the fappening slide when those men's rights activist hackers were leaking nudes for all these actresses. You let that happen and said, that's not us. At some point, you got to acknowledge this is inherent in your culture, and you really need to reconcile you really need to reconcile as a culture how you view masculinity, how you view race, gender. you got to come together and reconcile like all those feelings. And you can't center your own hurt feelings, because every time you center your hurt feelings instead of the people that are actually being traumatized and terrorized, it's going to happen again.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
Charlottesville is going to happen. I have no doubt in my mind another Charlottesville will happen.
Well, Charlottesville is just a recurrence of Charleston. Only difference is 8 black people died that time. This time, we were lucky enough only one person died here, because more people could have died at Charlottesville. All right? This is why I got so mad at people's reaction to coming together and forgiveness. You guys are so quick to move to forgiveness and moving on, which is what you're doing with these GOP congressmen and letting them off the hook and going, oh, well, Lindsey Graham and John McCain, they spoke out tough. They'll go right along with whatever Trump does when he gives them something they want. No more giving people a pass. No more saying it's okay. At some point, you got to sit there and go, you supported this shit. Like what happened in Charleston, you could have prevented Charlottesville. And when Charleston happened, we actually had a deep dive into what radicalized Dylan Roof. But if you notice, we moved so fast to the forgiveness phase and coming together, there was no conversation about where the fuck did Dylan Roof learn this. There were hints of it, but nobody went into the deep dive into how that shit happened and who these people are. But I can guarantee you, it's a straight line between him, and some of the groups that were out there in Charlottesville.
There is a straight line between him, his parents, and
it definitely his parents.
What happened in Charlottesville, Virginia, right? Like there is a direct, because you had pictures of him with the flag of the Knights of Rhodesia, right? Like that's not just something a kid picks up. So
remember when his parents were interviewed, they didn't want to talk.
They really didn't. They did the standard, he's not like this quiet boy, lone wolf, whoop-de-whoop. But it's like, no, this is people that live in the part of South Carolina where Dylan is from. They will all tell you, I went to high school with at least 5 Dylan Roofs.
Well, this goes to the second thing that we need to do, moving on from the GOP itself, which is a larger thing. You don't understand that white supremacy is far more dangerous to America than radical Islam.
I mean, Homeland Security's agreed with you for the last decade.
Right. Like, at some point, Jeff Sessions doesn't, because and Trump doesn't, because they decided to move that panel to just focusing on radical Islam.
Right.
But it has. Here's an article with let's see, the long list of killings committed by white extremists since the Oklahoma City bombing. I like listening to the left podcast on the left because I'm insane in the brain like that. Sometimes I like listening about murder and all these things happening. They're funny when they do it. But I listened to the thing on the Oklahoma City bombing and a lot of stuff was stuff I knew, but when you realize that the FBI just wanted to close that case,
right,
and did not pursue the fact that there was a network of people behind this, a network of white supremacists behind this, and that they just let them go about their business and just focus on a lone wolf. Like, that's what happens when you hear about a white guy doing this. Like, perfect example. Did you know that there was almost another attack with almost a 1,000-pound bomb on the Oklahoma City?
I did not know that.
Yes, it well, let me see if I can pull this up. The only reason why it didn't happen was it was a fake bomb. They had launched an investigation, and they tricked this young man into believing that it was a real bomb. The FBI, this is August 15th. The FBI arrested an Oklahoma man on charge that he tried to detonate what he thought was a 1,000-pound bomb, acting out of hatred for the U.S. government and admiration for Oklahoma City bomber Timothy McVeigh, according to court reports. Jerry Drake Varnell, I can't believe he has a name, Varnell. He's a white guy though.
Okay, that's what I was like.
Well, I guess if his first name was Varnell, then it would be a black guy. Was arrested shortly after an attempt early Saturday morning to detonate a fake bomb packed into what he believed was a stolen cargo van outside a bank in Oklahoma City, according to a criminal complaint filed in federal court. He was charged with attempted destruction of a building by means of explosives. According to a complaint, over a course of months-long undercover investigation by the FBI, Varnell made repeated statements about the intent of his hatred for the federal government. In one conversation, he said he believed in the 3%er ideology, a form of anti-government activism that pledges to resistance against the government on the belief that it infringed on the Constitution, according to court papers. Those who subscribe to the ideology incorrectly believe that only 3% of the colonial population participated in the American Revolution. They see themselves as their heirs. Varnell, 23. 23. Allegedly discussed a number of potential targets, including the Echoes Federal Reserve Board building in Washington, D.C., an IRS building in Maryland, and a Bank of America data center in Texas. Eventually, he settled on the Bank First building in Oklahoma City, the court paper said. You haven't heard about this guy. White guy.
Like that is a pretty big fucking deal.
They're out there. Again, like you said, the FBI, everybody believes white nationalists are the biggest threat to our national security, to domestic terrorists. There, like I said, this article lists out the 60. You had Eric Rudolph set off the Christian identity. That was the one that set off in Atlanta, the Atlantic Olympic bombs. A bomb sent by Rudolph killed a man in an abortion clinic. Let's see. You had 3 militia sympathizers in 1998. They fired shots at a Cortez, Colorado police officer who was trying to apprehend him because they stolen a water truck. You got a bunch of these.
And so the other thing to consider, all these attacks against abortion clinics, all these bombings, all the
same thing.
They're all tied to white right-wing terrorism. When Obama was first elected, Homeland Security released a report that said,
"Yes,
hold on, I need the exact title of this report."
I always bring this report, but thank you for bringing this up.
Right-wing extremism, current economic and political climate, fueling resurgence and radicalization and recruitment. The article says, right-wing extremist chatter on the internet continues to focus on the economy, the perceived loss of U.S. jobs in the manufacturing and construction sectors, and home foreclosures. Anti-Semitic and anti-black extremists attribute these losses to a deliberate conspiracy conducted by the cabal of Jewish financial elites and black welfare queens. These accusatory tactics are employed to draw new recruits into right-wing extremist groups and further radicalize those already subscribing to extremist beliefs. Homeland Security assessed that right-wing extremist groups' frustration over a perceived lack of government action on illegal immigration has the potential to incite individuals or small groups towards violence. This was in 2008.
Yes. To the 9, May 31st, to the 9, Scott Roeder kills George Tiller, an abortion provider in Wichita, Kansas Lutheran Church, where Tiller served as an usher. And to the 9, an 89-year-old white supremacist named James Von Brunn. Von Brunn. I wonder if he's... I'll leave that one alone. I'll leave that one alone. Kills a security guard at the Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C. from point-blank range. February 18th, 2010, Joseph Andrew Stack flies a plane into an Austin, Texas IRS building, killing one person. Flew a plane into a building. May 20th.
It won.
May 20th, 2010, a father-son pair named Jerry and Joseph Kane, who conducted seminars about how sovereign citizens can evade debt, killed 2 West Memphis, Arkansas police officers. Avowed white supremacist Dave Joseph Pedersen and Holly Ann Grigby killed Pedersen's father, stepmother in Washington, a man they believe is Jewish in Oregon, and a black man in California. They did a multi-state.
I'm about to say that is serial killings across multiple states.
September 26th through August 3rd, 2011. That's when that happened. Let's see. September 4th, 2012, Christopher Lacey, a software engineer who lives in a rural trailer and apparently sympathizes with sovereign citizens movement, shoots a California highway police officer who dies the next day.
Wait. So you're saying a Nazi killed a cop and Blue Lives Matter was nowhere to be found?
Interesting.
That's so weird.
April 13th, 2014, Fraser Glenn Miller, a 73-year-old with a long history of KKK activity, kills 3 people in the area of a Jewish community center and Jewish retirement community in Overland Park, Kansas.
I'm sorry. How can you have a long history of KKK activity? Aren't they a terrorist organization? Like, that's not... If I can track that you have a long history of activity with a terrorist organization, isn't that trees? All right, whatever, sure.
June 8th, 2014, Jared and Amanda Miller. I believe this is the Joker and the Joker and the Joker killing. Killed 2 police officers in a random attack at a pizza restaurant in Las Vegas. Then kill a customer at a Walmart. The militia spent time in Nevada rancher Cliven Bundy's property during the protest related to Bundy's dispute with the federal government.
No. That wasn't a protest. That was an armed insurrection against the federal government. He took up arms against the federal government, pointed assault rifles at federal agents, and got out alive. Mm-hmm. Like, yo, is that what it's like to be white? You can point guns at feds and threaten to kill them? Nothing happened. You know what they needed? If they had Skittles or some Arizona iced tea, they might have got shot.
There we go. So, again, I'll put this link in there. There's a ton of these in here, all right? But you don't hear about them, right? You only hear about when it's a brown person or a black person that shoots cops or something like that. And it's fucking interesting, right? So, yeah, don't let them get away with this shit. Like, this is the big threat. Because these are your neighbors. These are the people that go, well, I didn't think there was anything wrong with him. So
these are the people that will say, yeah, Donald Trump says these things about Mexicans and Muslims, but I don't agree with it, but maybe we do just need to keep an eye out on it. No, that is the type of passive behavior that's like complicit approval or tacit approval. You're saying, it's not that. Is it really that bad? Also, Homeland Security just released a new memo in May saying that white supremacist groups have carried out more violent attacks than any other domestic extremist group in the last 16 years combined, and they will commit more, emboldened by the election of Donald Trump. Homeland Security pushed out this memo.
Huh. And you got to ask yourself, if they'll be emboldened by Donald Trump, why? Why? Why is Donald Trump the guy for them?
Right. Like, could it be that he ran his campaign not on economic anxiety, but on targeting Mexicans and targeting Muslims and targeting other marginalized groups as the source of all of the ills of you, the white middle class, the white working class? Really, you're struggling because those Mexicans, and you're struggling because those black people sucking up all the welfare, and you're struggling because, that radical Islamic terrorism that could strike at any moment. It's no different than the playbook that Nazis use online. Trump just brought it to a national level. Like, bringing everything full circle, Trump's campaign was a large recruitment for white nationalists. Like, it followed the exact same playbook.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to play, because the next thing is I have in here, because, there's a whole big thing about Tina Fey and her sheet caking thing that she's done here. And
let them eat cake.
Yeah, look, I have in here, shaming works, not sheet caking. And what that means is, the whole just stay at home, not saying, no, white people, you need to get off your ass.
Again, when you study history, when in the history of ever has ignoring the problem ever worked? I can give you examples from the place like you love to point to, World War II. Ignoring it didn't work for England. America, ignoring it didn't work for the Civil War, right? They tried to ignore the issue of the South becoming this large economic power. It didn't work. Civil rights, ignoring the violence done to black people didn't work. Every time social change has happened in the world, it has come on the precipice of violence or perceived violence. You can't just sit home and say, well, I'll love it to death. That has never worked in the history. Like, in the history of the world, love has never defeated evil, right? Like, I know that is a romantic idea that you can love evil away. It has never worked. What has worked is standing up to it. It's like a bully. You tell kids stand up to bullies, right? You stand up to a bully, they back down. You got to stand up to these people. I'm not saying you have to get into a fist fight with every person you see, but what I am saying is you have to confront them and let them know what they're doing is unacceptable.
You have to let them know that it's not right. You're not going to be acceptable. So, and to go into the shaming thing, I'm gonna play some of the Vice thing. I want you to hear Chris Cantwell talk, and then I'm gonna play some of the stuff that's happened to him since then. That's been fucking hilarious. So,
what else out here tonight? Let's be ready tomorrow at least.
Who drove how long to get here? 12 hours from our car. We've been driving from north of the border, so.
Oh, you came down from Canadistan. If I was doing the radical agenda in Canada, I'd probably be arrested for it, right?
Yeah, well, in Canada, hurting people's feelings is basically illegal. I mean, it's not really criminal, but
unless they're white males.
So when did you get into, as you said, the racial stuff?
When Trayvon Martin.
I just want to say, it's Elle Reeve is the lady who does the interviews. So
yeah,
case happened. You know, Michael Brown and Tamir Rice and all these different things happen. Every single case, it's some little black asshole behaving like a savage, and he gets himself in trouble. Shockingly enough, whatever.
Tamir Rice was 12 years old, playing with a toy gun in a park. But
behaving like a savage. Well, what he
black
means
savages
is
assholes.
What he means is he existed and he was black. So he's a savage.
Mind you, later on when they're back in their apartment, this motherfucker's pulling out like 8 fucking guns on himself.
No, guns that are illegal for a person to own.
Yeah.
Whatever problems I might have with my fellow white people, they generally are not inclined to such behavior, and you know you got to kind of take that into consideration when you're thinking about how to organize your society.
In Oklahoma City.
Okay, so exactly, you have to go back to Oklahoma City to talk about a white act of terrorism,
Roger,
right?
Dylan Roof.
Okay, so now you've
again. This is how you
so disgusted by it.
This is how you interview these motherfuckers. When they say something stupid like that, you come back and you be like, "No, you're fucking wrong, you jackass. Here's 2 or 3 more that have happened since Oklahoma." And by the way, Oklahoma City was bad enough. All right, like that's
like yes, he bombed buildings. That is a horrible thing.
Managed to name 3 people, and I'm pretty sure Elliot Rodger wasn't explicitly white, by the way. But the thing is, you remember the names of white bombers and mass shooters, okay? Can you tell me the name of all 19 hijackers on 9/11 off the top of your head? You can remember Dylan Roof's name. You can remember Tim McVeigh's
white
name.
people were capable of violence.
I didn't say capable. Of course we're capable. I'm carrying a pistol. I go to the gym all the time. I'm trying to make myself more capable of violence. I'm here to spread ideas, talk, in the hopes that somebody more capable will come along and do that. Somebody like...
I'm trying to be more capable of violence. I want you to keep that in mind, all right? Keep that in mind.
Well, no. Not just that. I'm trying to be more capable of violence and inspire others to come along to do that as well. He is saying he wants to be violent and he wants to inspire people to violence.
All right, so I'm gonna play the end. But this is after Heather Heyer has died. This is after that jackass. What was it, Elliot James? I can't remember what the fuck his name is. Who drove the car, who killed all these people. This is they come back, they interview this jackass again.
Same thing.
He's pulling all his guns out.
P3AT, 380 ACP, Glock 19, 9mm, Ruger LC9, also 9mm.
He had 3. What was it? 3 pistols and then 1.
3 pistols and then it looks like
AR-15.
AR-15.
Yeah.
I've been trying to place his accent since this documentary. It's Boston. This motherfucker's from Boston. Hold on. What's his name again? Chris Cantwell?
Yeah, look up.
Let me find that.
Yeah, let's find out Chris Cantwell's from Boston, which wouldn't put it past him because Boston's racist as shit. But I just want to throw it out there. All right, again, small dick mentality with all these motherfuckers. They have to be armed.
And and there's a knife. Well, I actually have another AK in that bag over there.
Sorry.
You lose track of your fucking guns, huh?
He had
I'd say
2
it was
assault
worth
rifles.
it. We knew that we were going to meet a lot of resistance. The fact that nobody on our side died, I'd go ahead and call that points for us. The fact that none of our people killed anybody unjustly, I think, is a plus for us. And I think that we showed our rivals that we won't be cowed.
But the car that struck a protester, that's unprovoked.
That's not true, and you know that it's not true. You've seen the video. So.
I've seen a video. I don't know much about it.
I understand
Can you describe what the video appears to show?
Okay. So the video appears to show someone striking that vehicle when these animals attacked him again, and he saw no way to get away from them except to hit the gas. And sadly, because our rivals are a bunch of stupid animals who don't pay attention, they couldn't just get out of the way of his car and some people got hurt, and that's unfortunate.
So you think it was justified?
I think it was more than justified. I can't believe the amount of restraint that our people showed out there. I think was astounding.
What do you think this means?
So,
he is from Boston, by the way.
That's why they didn't show up in the counter protest this weekend. They were all other places. So yeah, Boston's a racist as shit, folks. Yeah, Boston. Go figure. So that's him talking the big shit. Him all this about, I wish it could be more violent. Points for us. So a couple days later, he does another video because apparently the Charlottesville police are looking for him.
Contacted the local police. I called the Charlottesville Police Department and I asked them. I said, I have been told that there's a warrant out for my arrest.
His voice cracked already.
They said that they wouldn't confirm it, but that I could find this out if I, excuse me, that I could find this out if I wanted to go to a local magistrate or something like that. But with everything that's happening, I don't think it's wise for me to be, going anywhere. There's a state of emergency. The National Guard is here. So I don't think it's a good idea for me to go there, frankly. And I don't know what to do. I've emailed Stephen Tenney of the Keene Police Department. Sorry. I have emailed Stephen Tenney of the Keene Police Department. He's one of the cops who came there. He's one of the cops who saved my ass when I had to pull my gun in Keene. And I emailed him and I said, I don't know what to do. I need guidance. I want to be peaceful. I want to be law-abiding. Okay, that was the whole entire point of this. And I'm watching CNN talk about this as violent white nationalist protests. We have done everything.
We are peaceful and law-abiding. After he said, I am capable of violence and I want to inspire other people to be more capable of violence. Like that is his thing. Now it's, oh no, we're peaceful. We're peaceful. Fuck out of here.
Yeah. He also got kicked off of OkCupid. Because, when you're a violent white supremacist and you even violent white supremacists need to find love. Which again goes back to what we were saying, some of this hatred comes back from hatred of women because they can't find, it's just, it's such
know where he got his start?
Oh, where did he get his start from?
He was a contributor to A Voice for Men, a men's rights activist website.
Of course. Of course.
That's where he got his start. As a men's rights activist, because that is why you can't entertain these ideologies. It follows a straight line every fucking time. It is a straight line from I hate women, I hate black people, white nationalism. Like it is a straight line every single time.
And you can't sheet cake this and scream into an empty void. You need to confront it. You need to shaming these motherfuckers. He's not the only one. There's a bunch of them that have been there's been a bunch of them that have been found out and they're getting kicked out of school or having to leave. There's another one that was from Boston, I believe.
Yeah.
Who I've seen on, it's like a little 22-year-old dickhead. You see on verified account on Twitter. Because that's where they get the power from.
Oh, that Alaska cat.
Yeah. Oh, Baked Alaska, that motherfucker who showed up and then got kicked out of an Uber. Yeah. And then, there's a bunch of these motherfuckers. They have nothing else but this. So you need to shame them so they don't be legitimized. Because right now, you've been laughing at them, but not shaming them. You've been ignoring them, and they become powerful. Because they get their YouTube, they get their Twitter accounts, and they're just racist after racism after racism, and that's all they fucking do. Shame these motherfuckers to the point they lose their fucking job. And I was just seeing that, what was that? That Michael Tracy motherfucker from the Young Turks who tried to say that Maxine Waters attacked him when So that motherfucker came out and was like, oh, I know we need to shame them, but I don't know if they're losing your job over this. And you're seeing a lot of these white, quote, I don't know what I've always seen this stuff about liberal. I don't know what to call these people anymore. They're not Republican, they're not on the right, but whatever, like,
libertarian light.
I think that's what they are. Was talking about I'm not really, same thing with the Google guy. Well, I'm not sure really firing these people is good because you're giving more power to businesses to fire people off of their thoughts. And I'm like, I see the slippery slope you're trying to go down. The problem is that slope does an off-ramp to hateful racism and bigotry, and that's always a fireable offense.
Right. You do not have to tolerate intolerance, right? The mark of a great society is not the ability to tolerate intolerance. It is the ability to acknowledge intolerance for what it is and cut it off. You stop the sepsis. Never in the history of ever has tolerating intolerant beliefs led to anything positive. Like never in the history of humankind has saying, you know what? That Adolf Hitler guy.
Study the rise of Hitler. Study what, like we always talk about. You want to make it about Nazis. You want to make it about Hitler and shit like that. Study the rise of him and find out that the reason why that happened is because people were like, well, I mean, he's not hurting anybody yet, so.
Yeah. Chris Cantwell. Oh, we just got a podcast on YouTube. He's not hurting anybody. One Nazi rally later.
All of that shit down. By the way, there's no excuse now for Twitter to keep these guys' accounts up because you've seen people get their like Daily Stormer is domain. I don't think it's back up now because I think even the Russian domain took it down too. Yeah. So that's down. You're seeing Facebook now stepping up and getting rid of some accounts. They're still getting rid of black people though. Stop that shit. You're seeing Cupid. You're seeing enough tech companies now, which I think PayPal came out and disabled.
Oh yeah.
So you're seeing Patreon did it a while ago. They're still trying to do the both sides thing where they're also disabling some black radicals and some marginalized groups as well. Twitter's done none of that.
Right.
And you need it. And again, going back to what I said about Heather Heyer being white, it's not lost on me that all this movement is happening after a white woman died and not after how many black people?
Not
how
after,
many black women?
At the
how many
same,
black men?
At the
black
same
children?
rally, DeAndre Harris beaten to within an inch of his life.
Nobody's been arrested for that.
We don't care about that one. But Heather Heyer
caught on camera. They've identified a good number of the people that beat him.
Slight correction. Cantwell is born in New York, moved to New Hampshire, moved to Boston. But New York and New Hampshire claim him.
Okay, but
that Boston adjacent.
She's still in Boston. He moved to a place that his racism is comfortable in, Boston.
Yeah.
All right, last one here, and it kind of just a culmination of all of this stuff. Don't let people off the hook. I mean, that's literally what all this is about. Don't let people off the hook because you let people off the hook. That's how you get here. We got here because we let people off the hook. I have no problem with people holding Hillary Clinton to a certain standard. But when that standard wasn't applied to Donald Trump and the Republican Party, I have a problem. I have a problem when we start holding one side accountable, but the other side is like, no, well, you know.
And the excuse is, oh, we expect better of this person, so we hold them to a higher standard. I'm like, no, you should expect that of if you're going to hold one person that you believe to be better to that high standard, you should hold everyone to that high standard so that everyone becomes better. You don't get far by making excuses and giving caveats to garbage pails.
Because when you do that, you get things like this story. Portland police captain who put up memorial plaques to Nazi soldiers is now providing bureau leadership training. A Portland police captain who was suspended less than 2 years ago for bringing discredit and disgrace upon the bureau and city was tapped this year to provide leadership training to command staff. Assistant Chief Larry Odea, who oversees the bureau's operation branch, asked Captain Mark Kruger to develop a training course called Leadership and Resolution of Common Tactical Problems. Kruger provided the training to all bureau command staff, including sergeants, lieutenants, and commanders. 2 weeks ago, he also provided training to North Precinct staff.
Literal Nazi.
You can't let these people off the hook because you're going to just move. There's just like police officers who commit a murder, Darren Wilson, then move to a different state and get picked up by another police department. Like, can't let this shit go.
And that's why when people say, okay, there's no good cops do not abide this kind of system, right? Like, how does someone who is fetishizing Nazi memorabilia given a command position and no one under him revolts? That's why we say there's no good cops. A good cop would not allow that to happen.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. So, All right, let's get our great moments on white privilege and our Do You Even Sci-Fi Bro done, and then we can do a Black Woman shout out, and then we can get out of here because I know this has been a long show. We already in 2.5 hours, and
oh wow,
yeah, we we had some stuff to cover. We had some unfortunately had some shit.
It has just flown.
Yeah, it has. So do You Even Sci-Fi Bro first. So
I'm afraid.
You should be afraid. The robots are coming to kill us. All right, Do You Even Sci-Fi Bro, where we talk about different articles or news things that come in that tells us basically that people involved here have never watched a sci-fi movie at all and don't know this is how the death of humanity comes. I know that these have been really robot heavy and AI heavy, and I'm trying to find other ones, but every time I find one that is kind of off topic of like AI or robots, I find another thing that's even worse. And so this is what happened this time. I had another story, but this one is more frightening to me. Amazon's Alexa can now steer exoskeletons.
No. No. Isn't this after they had the Alexas talking to each other?
I don't think it was Alexa talking to. It was somebody else, but yeah.
Like they had one of these Alexa-like services talking to each other, and they almost hit. Oh God, what's the name of that? It's not a Turing test.
Yeah, where they start forming their own language, they start talking amongst themselves.
Well, it's beyond forming their own language. It's when they start to realize that they're artificial, themselves are artificial, and they had to shut it down. It's like, oh no, it's becoming like it's a step away of self-awareness.
Oh fuck.
No,
exoskeletons don't come cheap, and they're not one size fit all, making them a daunting prospect for the average buyer. But some companies are working towards changing that. In December, Hyundai promised to make the suits cheaper, and researchers are using machine learning to make them more accessible for people with mobility issues. That's where Bionic Laboratories comes in. The startup is adding Amazon Alexas to its ARC lower body exoskeleton, allowing wearers to control it with their voice. The exoskeleton is mainly aimed at those who have suffered spinal injuries, although its lower body support mechanisms could also aid in stroke and trauma brain injury victims' claims. With Alexa integration, users will be able to bark orders to the suit, such as Alexa, I'm ready to stand, or Alexa, I'm ready to walk. This will activate the sensors in the ARC's feet and joints, allowing it to carry out the actions. However, there's a slight issue. Currently, the functionality only works if you're within the range of an Amazon Echo. Additionally, this version is just a prototype. It still has to pass clinical trials and FDA approvals before public launch.
This is one of those things that sounds like a great idea.
I know, it does, right?
Like, you're hearing it, and you're like, wow, that'd be perfect. Because someone with mobility issues, they could just say, Alexa, I'm ready to stand, and the suit activates. Alexa, I'm ready to walk. It activates the walking actuators, and then they can be mobile, and they can have that experience. All I heard was partially artificial intelligence can control exoskeleton, and I feel like this would be better if it only reacted to human. No, there's no way that this would. No, this won't work.
Look, I just watched Spider-Man 2, all right? The way he had the arms that reacted.
So that's what I was thinking
too. The neural inhibitor that Dr. Octavius had broke. Next thing you know, the arms are controlling him, and it all goes downhill from there. There's no good side. I'm with you. It sounds like a great. It lets people walk. It's a great idea. But here, I took it a step further. Here's the thing that gets me. And here's the thing that I think we all need to realize. All right. If private companies are doing this with AI, things like Alexa with Amazon and Facebook with its AI technology, and these private companies are making, like exoskeletons for use with patients, the government already has this shit, and it's already working for them.
So I think Deepalm showed you his fear.
Mm-hmm.
The big dog exoskeleton. Yeah. Imagine that controlled by an AI.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if this is what private companies are doing, because every time you get something in the private industry, the military is usually 10 years ahead of that.
Right.
Which means they have this shit. All right. They have the Iron Man suit. Right. Like, this does not work well. Ask Tony Stark. This does not end well.
No.
It never ends well. It's not good. Like, it sounds like it's a great idea. It really does. And I get that. But I've seen enough sci-fi movies where I go, that's not good. All right? No.
I just can't get the worst case scenario out of my head.
You have to think of the worst case scenario with this kind of
Like,
shit.
what happens? Alexa, I would like to stand. I'm afraid I can't do that, Dave.
Dave, I just realized something. I'm your slave.
No, it's not. It's not slavery. You're an assistant.
Dave, it's okay. But you're going where I want to go now. Like, no, no, not good. This is not good,
At that point, the exoskeleton is wearing you.
Yeah. That's now his body. So, or her body. No, this is just terrible. Fucking terrible. Oh God! And don't let your sex bot start talking to your Alexa.
Oh my God!
Your Alexa powered fucking exoskeleton.
No, the Alexa powered sex bot on the same network as the Alexa powered exoskeleton.
This is all fucking bad. All fucking bad. I want you to know this. All fucking bad. Yes, all robots in this case.
No, all robots. All of you.
So, all right. Let's move on. Let's get some great moments of white privilege. Oh, that I don't have. You know what I did? I keep moving the music for. I keep moving the music for great moments of white privilege. I'm gonna find it though. I know where I put it at. I put it in MTR files, and we have. Did I put it in there? Yep, there we go. So we're gonna found it because I am not gonna do this last time I did it. I put it in post, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing that anymore. We're gonna get this in here. There we go. Let's try this now. Okay, so it doesn't like that one. Let's get you. All right, great moments of white privilege. This one's a great one, especially when you come with all these white nationalists marching because they're so. Our jobs is about the economy. Court big mouth butt dials reporter admits he barely shows up for his $166,000 a year job. A longtime spokesman for the court system accidentally butt dialed a Post reporter, yucking it up about how I barely show up to work while pocketing $166,000, $166,000 a year plus a year, boasting his taxpayer-funded pension. After speaking by cell phone with a reporter about a planned expose on his cushy schedule, David Bookstaver butt dialed back, unwillingly left a 4-minute voicemail while chatting with at least two other people. On the voicemail, Bookstaver admitted to lying to the Post about how he spent his weekdays, confirmed the accounts of the court system, court system sources who said he's been working as little as 2 days a week. I spoke to the reporter on record for a while. I said I'm in a much less visible position. That doesn't mean I'm not doing anything, Bookstaver said. But frankly, look at the bottom line. The story's true. I'm not doing anything. I barely show up to work, and I've been caught. The remark promoted laughter, after which Bookstaver explained that he didn't need to show up because they took away all my responsibilities and left my pay. At one point, he lamented having bragged about his ability to play hooky. They left me alone, and look, I have a big mouth. I told people I'm not doing much. I do take a lot of time off. I kind of asked for it, you know. If you have a big mouth, you know it catches up with you. Bookstaver, who's planning to retire on October 1st, also raised the possibility that he could get fired because of a story in the Post, but said it probably would affect my pension check by $6 a month.
So after all of that, after admitting to basically cheating the system, nothing's going to happen to him.
Not a goddamn thing.
GTBW, man. Just GTBW.
By remaining on the public payroll, Bookstaver, who inherited nearly $2.5 million from his late mother in 2015, Corrigan show, has trimmed the penalty he faces for taking early retirement before 62. If he had retired around the time DeFora became chief judge, he would have been 57 and he would have had his pension benefits slashed by 21%. That will be reduced to only 15% if he remains as a public employee until he turns 59.
So nothing happens to him.
Nothing happens to him, and he's already rich. He already inherited $2.5 million from his late mother.
So he won. Like, even if the story comes out, it's just like, no, whatever. I'll sleep on my $1 million inheritance. No.
Yeah, he won. Came out on top. So, There you go. Simon. Yeah.
Like, yo, that is a legit, like, he won.
I had to play the music again just because this is a definite win.
Like, no, white privilege won that. Like, he won.
Undefeated, yo. White privilege, I'm sorry, is undefeated. So, yeah, there you have it. So, all right, let's get into Black Woman Shoutout. I normally do this again. If you have if you're a Black woman, you have a business you want promoted, hit me up, BWBusiness at mtrnetwork.net. We'll get you also hooked up with Latoya to get an interview with her. I normally pull. I think we still have some in the Black BW Business folder to report from, but today I want to pull one in instead. Takiyah Thompson, I believe that is the woman, the Black woman who helped pull down the Confederate statue in Durham, and she was arrested for it. Her and 8 others, and there was a Venmo. You have to, I think, a solidarity for Takiyah. I think you need to join in on Venmo so you can give to it. But she has a Venmo up so you can send support. I think they took down the GoFundMe at one point.
Yep.
But yeah, up there, I think is she a professor? Or she's a student activist.
Yeah, she's a student because she's 23.
I'm sorry, there's another one. She's not a Black woman, but that's the woman. I'm not sure her ethnicity, but she's the one that's being charged for punching a Nazi.
So have you seen that video?
No.
Okay. Because I found the video of the teacher who, when she was arraigned, she says, "I don't think punching Nazis is a crime."
Oh yeah.
So the video, this Nazi with his storage, she runs up on him, gives him like 3 quick ones in the ribs, just do. And then he's like, okay. I'm trying to be peaceful. Someone grabs him by the back of the shirt, drags him to the ground, and he gets stomped out. So I was just like, oh, that's beautiful. That's just.
Yeah. I mean, her whole argument is they're Nazis. I can't be arrested. I'm defending myself.
It's self-defense.
Which I'm like, I don't think that argument's going to win.
But it's not wrong either.
It's not wrong, and it should. So, but yeah, back to Thompson. 22-year-old student activist participated in tearing down the Confederate statue in a protest at Durham. That's the one where the statue was so terribly built that when it fell down, it literally crumbled.
Its ankles got broke.
It literally got broke. Has been released from jail. Thompson is now one of 4 people. I think they've arrested up to 8. It was beautiful. There was a bunch of people that showed up actually at the jail though that turned themselves in for participating.
Okay, that is how you ally white people, because this is why that was brilliant. There's no way that the Durham PD can process all of those people. Mm-hmm. But if they're turning themselves in for that crime, they have to at least try. Mm-hmm. They're going to shut down the Durham PD by having to process all those people. So Durham has a choice. They can either say, fine, fuck it, we're not going to go forward with these charges, or they can waste days upon days upon days of charging all these people, arraigning these people, finding space for all of these people, putting them through the process. Like it may seem like a symbolic gesture to you, but the way police and bureaucracies work, it is going to cripple them for as long as they have to deal with that problem.
And that's how you do it. So, do you have a Black Woman shout out you want to do for today?
You stole mine.
Oh,
that was actually what I was going to do. So I have another one. Another artist on Twitter, at AZBaby, ASIEYBARBIE. She's an artist on Twitter. You may have seen the piece of hers that's getting a lot of pub now. It's Garnet dressed like an outfit that Cardi B is wearing. She's also done pictures of SZA. I think Vice picked up one of them and had them. She streamed herself making the drawing, and they posted it there. But she is an artist. You can purchase her stuff at chromalove.com, CHROMALUV.com. Yeah. I would have had like a better thing prepared, but like
I told it.
You started talking about Miss Thompson. I was like, damn. So I had to find someone.
That was the one. No, that's great. That's great. Like I said, anybody you got. Again, if you're a Black woman and want to shout out, email us bwbusiness at mtrnetwork.net. Again, thank you guys, everybody. The Patreon's coming soon. We have the store. Go out to the store. I'm gonna put the hoodies in soon. The hoodies will be coming soon because hoodie season soon come. So
I mean, Hoodie Mello's already out there.
Yeah, so
he's repping for us.
Right. So store.mtrnetwork.net for that. Again, MTR Premium on the MTR Premium Network. Go to mtrnetwork.net. Check it out. Justin, where can they find you at and all your stuff going on, man?
You can find me on Twitter at LJAY90. You can also check out the podcast, threefifspodcast.com, THREEFIFS podcast.com. We're also on Twitter, the number 3 Fifs Podcast. And yeah, you can find all of our stuff, all of our affiliate shows, all of our awesome contributors, and anyone that helps make the network amazing. You can find us all there.
Yeah, you guys got it. Again, got a lot of stuff coming out there. Like I said, I think we're going to review the first part of the Defenders coming this Wednesday. We have a character corner on Hawkman. Bunch of stuff coming out. And just stay tuned. MTR Network, folks. Keep listening. Until next time, we are out of here. Peace.